and welcome. I'm David Kellum along with Walker Jones. How is everybody doing in Rebel Nation? We're excited to be here today, the second annual Grove Collective Day. And Walker, I know you guys have been busy putting this together.
Yeah, you know, DK, it's when you go through, and I think what we've learned over the years, and then we're going into year 3 now, which it feels like year 30. But year 3 now, I think you kind of look back on the things. You try a lot because you know there's so much ambiguity, there's so much gray area in terms of what you can and can't do, and what has been tried from a fundraising standpoint and educating our fan base. You know, you look back and you got to kind of try things, fail quick and move on, or if they're successful, replicate them again. And I think this is a perfect example. Matt McLaughlin with the Ole Miss Athletic Foundation came up with this kind of idea, and we tried it last year, didn't really know what would happen, and we ended up raising $3 million in about 7 days, and our fans really kind of responded. It's a great time to do it. School starts next week, kickoff next week. All our fall sports, including our 6th-ranked football team. And so everybody's kind of excited anyway and paying attention. So this is, like you said, the second annual one. And we've got some new tweaks this year that we're going to do, and some really cool prizes and some opportunities for our fans to really kind of get integrated with our programs and our athletes. And so really excited about it. And again, this is one of those things that we tried. Didn't really know what success would look like, but it turned out to be a great idea, and that's why we're rolling it back this year.
Well, and you think about it too, Walker, you can't go back 4, 5, 6 years and find a model.
Yeah,
I mean, you're really creating this on the fly, aren't you?
Yeah, you really are. And you know, again, this is where, and I say it all the time, and I can't say it enough, is the alignment with our university. You know, being a collective leader, I talk to collectives all over the country, and you know, I'm amazed at some of them that still don't have the communication and the trust, the alignment, the integration that we have here at Ole Miss. You know, led by obviously our Chancellor Glenn Boyce, Keith Carter, our athletics director, Denson Hollis and Matt McLaughlin in the Ole Miss Athletic Foundation, Kyle Bruce, all the staffs here at Ole Miss, and the stakeholders that have given us a huge leg up in NIL. And just, you know, I get asked that question all the time, like, why has the Grove Collective been successful? And I think that's the first thing I say is the communication, the trust, and the integration and alignment that we have. Because, look, we don't have a huge staff. And to your point, there's no real historical analysis, you know, other than going back about, 12, 24 months. And so we have to kind of piggyback off the efficiencies of the university and the athletic department. And that rings true today. And I think our fans will continue to see that alignment.
And you're going to see several graphics with tons of information during this 2-hour period. But here on the head end, we just want to tell you, you can go to thegrovecollective.com. Phone number set up 662-816-2689. So be sure to call that number as well. Walker and them got some giveaways going on. We're going to hear from Coach Lane Kiffin a little bit later. We've got our other coaches. Some of them are recorded. Some of them we'll have live, but we're excited about that. And several student athletes, too. Yeah,
you know, look, the one thing we talk about a lot of times, too, is the collective can be a great conduit for our fans to meet the student athletes up close and personal. And, you know, with the transfer portal being what it is, sometimes the rosters roll over. You know, traditionally you're used to seeing the same players 3, 4, 5 years. That's really not the case now because players come and go. And so this is a great opportunity to be able to work into the, getting to know who these new faces are and getting to meet these athletes and bringing our fan base up close and personal, not only with our coaches, but with our fans as well. And then speaking, of the alignment I said previously, but also trying to help our fans out, we've got a really big announcement today, DK, where we're going to be offering priority points through the Ole Miss Athletic Foundation for gifts this week.
That's unique, too.
It really is unique. We're one of the first schools to do that. It's a bold move, again, that Keith and our own Denson Hollis and Matt and the entire Ole Miss Athletic Foundation staff came to that decision, got approved last week. And, again, just trying to be a trendsetter, a first mover to award and to reward, really, our fans for giving to our collective and giving to our athletes through NIL. So having those priority points is another big step. Every donation this week, regardless of the dollar figure, will be eligible for our priority points. And then there'll be a long-term plan going forward with those, DK. So really excited about that. So for those of you that have given or are going to give or thinking about giving, I think that's just another advantage of us being a trendsetter and leading from the front by giving those priority points.
And speaking of Keith Carter, Keith had to go to an AD meeting, but we do have an interview that Walker was able to talk to Keith. And when we come back, we'll hear from Keith Carter.
Welcome back, Rebel Nation, to our second annual Grove Collection Day. And our first guest, most appropriately, is our athletics director, Mr. Keith Carter. Keith, thanks for joining us. Lots going on, obviously, second annual Collection Day. A lot of guests today, but it's great starting off with you because, as we've talked all the time, there's so many things going on with NIL and working with the university and the collective and all that. But before we get into all that stuff, what's life like this summer been for the Carter family? What's been going on?
It's been good. It's been busy. There used to be a period in athletics in July where you got a little downtime, but those are in the past. But it's been good. We were able to get away for a week, get down to the beach. But it's with everything going on with the season and everything with the house, litigation, settlement, and all that stuff. It's been a lot of time. Working on athletics. That's what we do. But really excited to get back, get all the student athletes back, and get the fall started. So here we go.
So speaking of just busy, and again, I think you and I both talked a lot about it. And I think our fans have heard a lot. The alignment between the Grove Collective and the athletic department, all the university stakeholders. I think we've set a standard out there that a lot of people have tried to emulate. And one of the things has been trying to really make it easy for our donors to understand NIL, but also to give to NIL. And we've got a really big announcement that we're coming up with this week that I think our fans are really going to love. The fact that a really bold move that we're going to allow for priority points from our athletic foundation, from OMAF, to be given to donors that give directly to the collective. And, a lot of that was you pushing that, and Denson Hollis and Matt McLaughlin. But talk a little bit about, that being another example of a bold move that, in concert with each other, we've been able to kind of be a leader and again, reward our fans for giving to NIL.
Well, there's no doubt that the reason we've been successful is because of the collaboration, and we've been in lockstep the whole way.
Yep.
Obviously, you and your team and the folks here at Athletics and the Athletics Foundation. Again, like you said, I think this is just another step in that direction. We understand that we're dealing with some hard times right now, really across college athletics. A lot of moving parts, a lot of uncertainty, kind of where we're going with the rev share and all that. We know for the next 10 or 11 months that we're going to be in the current model that we're in. So with giving going toward the collective, we figured we need to make that as easy as possible. And by giving priority points for that, we think that will be, incentivize our fan base and our donor base to give over there. So, you're seeing it around the country a little bit, but like you said, we're one of the first movers in the space, and I think it's something that will be very, very fruitful for us, and hopefully our donors will really appreciate that.
That's right. And so if you give this week, from today through the end of the week, the 25th of August, regardless of the financial amount, you will receive priority points from OMAF for those gifts to the Grove Collective. And again, a big thank you for you and Denson and Matt for helping make that happen. I know our fans will love it. Keith, you mentioned a little bit the pending settlement. It's kind of the buzzword right now in NIL, and the House case and all that comes with that, and how that could shape and kind of redirect the world of NIL. And a lot of what we're hearing is conceptual in nature, and we're starting to get more details each week goes by. Kind of talk a little bit from an AD's perspective about what you guys expect coming from that and the changes that may lead on the NIL landscape.
Yeah, it's really consumes us right now. This is obviously the biggest thing we're working on, the House case that, they say if everything goes as planned, we'll settle next spring, probably in March or April. And then once July 1st hits of 2025, we'll start the rev share with student athletes, and the model will change, and we'll have to, figure that out as we go. But now we're looking at it that we got to solve kind of that long-term, solution with the rev share and what that looks like, down the road. But obviously we've got a challenge in the next 9 or 10 months, and
right.
Continuing to move forward with the model that we have now, and that's obviously why we're doing what we're doing today. But yeah, the House case, I've said it all along. I have no issues, sharing revenue with the student athletes. They get out on the field or the court and perform, and people come and buy tickets for them, not
right.
for us,
Yep.
So, but it does create, just a math problem. When you're trying to find, $22 million out of your budget, it's something that you think a lot about. And
you don't have that laying around.
We do not. There is not a tree out back with money on it. But, we're trying to figure out all kinds of new ways for revenue streams. Obviously, the other side of that is cutting costs. How do we tighten the belt and get a little leaner and skinnier? So we're looking at all that more long term, but obviously why we're here today is talking about how we're going to finish out, this year, and
right.
We're excited about that.
Yeah, life as an AD, Keith. I mean, from when you got the job, and you've obviously, very well recognized for making some really bold hires and big decisions that have obviously paid huge dividends.
the challenges that NIL now brings for an AD, how does the world look different now than it did 4 years ago?
Well, I think it's totally shifted, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, it's just a new thing, and I think change is hard, no matter what it looks like. And so we've been spending a lot of time on that. But what I continually go back to is we have about 425 student athletes that are here because they want to compete, they want to get an education. All those things that we've always based college athletics and amateur athletics on is still the same. I mean, those things are still there. We still have great student athletes and coaches and staff members that believe in the mission and what we're doing in the enterprise of college athletics. So I'm excited to get the fall started, get the competitions going again. I think this summer it kind of bogs you down because just the minutia of all of it. But when you got soccer and volleyball and football and all those things, cross country going, get you fired up again, for why you do it. But a lot of time on new topics, some challenges, but a lot of great opportunities as well.
And being part of the SEC with leadership like Greg Sankey and Charlie Hussey and those guys in the conference, it's such a great advantage for us being in a part of a conference like that. And I would imagine that, again, being at the forefront of this changing landscape. We talk about how college athletics changes, and sometimes the more things change, the more they stay the same. And we're about to get into a point where, it's blocking and tackling, it's execution, regardless of what sport you're talking about, putting a team on the court or the field, coaching them correctly, chemistry, all that kind of stuff. And those things haven't changed with NIL. And speaking about our football team this year, top 10 team, Coach Kiffin and his staff have done a great job. Talk about a little bit, and I know there's always a lot going on getting ready for football season. Doesn't matter what the expectations are. But this year, has it been a little different with the attention? It feels like Lane is probably one of the biggest personalities in college football right now. We're kind of Ole Miss football team is kind of that story that everybody's paying attention to. Like, has that changed a little bit in kind of the mindset this summer of preparing and your staff and everything that goes into a successful season? Has that changed anything for you guys?
I think a lot of the fundamentals of it are the same, but when you have the expectation that we have this year, when you're that relevant, nationally, it does change. You've got obviously more media requests. You've got a lot of sold out season tickets, which we're really excited about. Just practical things like how do we prepare for a potential college football playoff, hosting, traveling, do you get to buy, all those things that we hadn't thought about before. So there's just a lot to it. But this is what Lane and I talked about 4.5 years ago. Getting to this point of where Ole Miss athletics would be nationally relevant. We would be playing and having opportunities, to win national championships. Obviously, there's a lot of work to do. We still got 12 games to get through, and we know our roster's really good. We got to find out if our team's really good, and I know Lane and the staff are working every day on that. But it's one of those things where we're preparing for everything. Every opportunity and every contingency we're working on, and that has been a little different this year than in the past.
Yeah, I think I heard you say a couple of times being relevant on the college football landscape. I think that's a huge thing for our fans, our university, our players, all that. Keith, and by the way, too, if any students didn't get tickets, they should call you, right?
Yeah, I'll give you my cell. No, I'm not giving you my cell. We do have a few more coming out, but man, that has been a hot ticket. 13,000 or so sold, most we've ever sold. And obviously a sellout for the stadium as well. You talk to the teams that are coming in. Most of them took their full allotment. The AD at Oklahoma said they could sell 20,000 tickets. If they had them. Awesome. We're not giving them to them, but just the buzz is awesome. Yeah. And it's really fun. The expectations are great. But there's some pressure there too, and it's exciting, to get out on the field and see if we can make it happen.
Yeah, it's good problems to have.
No doubt.
Running out of tickets, for sure. Well, Keith, in closing, just again, we've talked a lot about it and want to continue just to kind of emphasize the point of alignment. And, with Ole Miss, and I've heard you say it a lot before, we punch way above our weight. And when we get aligned and we get everybody moving in the same direction, it's a really powerful fan base. It might not be the largest, but very mighty. And just, as we go into collection week this week and, your leadership, the Chancellor's leadership, and what we've been able to do, I think things are really set up in a great way for success, and just the message to our fans and those people that are inclined to support us in the various ways that we're asking them to. What would be that message?
Well, I think right now, the very clear message is that giving to the Grove Collective is very important. Right now we've got to make sure that we're relevant in that space, and you and your team and the collaboration has been fantastic. We got to continue to do that. We got to continue to be first movers, be creative, be proactive. Obviously, with Texas and Oklahoma coming into our league, it gets even tougher than it has been in the past. But there's no reason we can't compete and win, and we've shown we can do that. We got to keep it up. I would just encourage all of our fans, donors, to continue to do that. Give to the Grove Collective. Here at Ole Miss Athletics, the Athletics Foundation, we talk about how that is our priority over the next 12 months, is making sure that the Grove Collective is supported, and we want to make sure that we help them do our part.
Yeah. Well, again, I know I've said it many times. We all thank you for your leadership and the decisions you've made, like the priority point situation, but everything that's led us to this point, I think shows that we're committed to this, you're committed to this, and the support you've given us and our fans and our coaches has been first rate. And obviously, you and I going back to being student athletes years ago, I know you remind everybody that I was 1 year older than you, and I certainly feel a lot older than you these days, but it's really neat to be a former athlete, a graduate of the school, and to see the work that you've done, and again, really appreciative for all those things that you've done for us and all the support you've given us. So big thank you to you, and big thanks to all our fans supporting, and it's great having Keith Carter here with us today. And as we kick off this great week of giving, if you have any questions, please reach out. And howdy toddy, we look forward to seeing you. We'll be back shortly.
And really nice interview with Athletic Director Keith Carter. And, one of the things, I've been around forever, obviously, Walker, but I called your games when you played football. I called his games when you played basketball. Yeah. Here's two student athletes from two different sports, basically, hanging out. And so your relationship with him has been really good for a long, long time. And no secret that, he'd be very cooperative with what we're trying to do with the NIL piece.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest with you. The first conversation I had with Keith back in 2022, when this was all, going on and talking about the Grove Collective, I just remember his commitment to wanting to be a leader in NIL, not only for the good of Ole Miss, but for our student athletes. And that's who Keith is. Like I said, he and I have known each other for over 25 years. We're student athletes together. He loves to remind everybody he was a year younger than me. But it's great to have that relationship with him. And I think, so much of what we do is built on trust, because we are trying to figure things out. And sometimes we get things wrong. Sometimes we take a educated guess or a gamble on something, but as long as we have that bedrock of trust, I think that's what helps us to keep moving forward and be innovative, and that speaks to our relationship, not only with Keith, but his directive to his staff and to the OMAF about working with us, helping with us, and again, we would not be here, I can't say it enough, without Keith's leadership, and look at these coaches he's hired. I mean, my gosh, so we're just a small part of it. The coaches that he's hired know how to kind of use the collective in its best form, and so just tremendous hats off. I can't say enough about Keith.
And we're super excited. This is the Grove Collective live show, but it's a week-long deal. We've already got some money coming in.
We do. We got some money coming in. We've had a $25,000 gift, another $10,000 gift, a couple $5,000 gifts. So we're starting to see money coming in. We've got some great prizes, like you talked about, for those people that are giving, everything from experiences to autographed merchandise. So continue to give. Again, those priority points will be awarded for all the gifts this week. So we are starting to see some money come in, which is the whole purpose of this today and this week.
Hey, coming up, let me read you some bios here real quick. We've got three of our student athletes that Walker's going to talk to in just a moment. From soccer, Aubrey Mister from O'Fallon, Illinois. She played at O'Fallon Township. She's a communication science and disorders major. She's looking forward to jumping into that career here pretty soon. She's in her third year after one season at Memphis, and she won the state championship in high school in 21. Soccer kicked off the year, got a win right out of the gate, 4-0 over Southern. We also got Michael Lasasso, who's here, who you don't want to challenge him in a golf match.
I'm going to get a golf lesson while he's here and slicing everything.
Junior from Raleigh, North Carolina, went to St. David's School. He's a business administration major, recently represented Ole Miss in the U.S. Amateur, and so we're going to get a chance to talk to him. He was ranked number 2 in the state of North Carolina out of high school, transferred to Ole Miss from NC State. And then Hunter Elliott from Ole Miss Baseball, who's kind of been on the shelf lately, but he's coming back. This spring, we're going to get to see Hunter. He's a junior from Tupelo, Mississippi, and was the starting pitcher in the national championship game that the Rebels won just a couple of years back, and is healthy and ready to roll. So Walker will be able to visit with him as well, a Tupelo High School product, Mississippian in baseball. So we'll have all three of them with Walker Jones when we come back.
Welcome back to our second annual Grove Collection Day, and this is one of my favorite and most rewarding pieces of NIL and working with the collective is dealing with our student athletes, and nothing's more core to our mission than the impact that we can have on a daily basis with our athletes, the young men and women that choose to come to our great university. And I'm joined by three great ones today. So Aubrey Mister from our women's soccer team, Michael Lasasso from our men's golf team, and Hunter Elliott from our baseball team. So great cross section here, and going to have some fun talking about just NIL in general, and also what goes on in their lives, what's going on in the seasons that they have coming up. So Hunter, I'll start with you first. Obviously, wearing a national championship ring, started your career, started the national championship game. Had some injury issues since then, but you chose to come back for that last year, even though the draft was calling a little bit. And, just talk a little bit about, your decision, your thought process on coming back and trying to have a great bookend career here at Ole Miss.
Yeah, obviously we started it out about as high as you could my freshman year, and the last two seasons haven't gone as planned or how myself or the team would have liked.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the process was a little longer than I wish it had been. But from the support you guys have given us, the fans, and I just felt like I had unfinished business, That was my biggest thing, unfinished business, and then just new coaching. Felt like it was going to give us a little bit of a new start, and I just didn't want to end how it ended.
Yeah, new pitching coach.
New pitching
Cole
coach,
Mangrum,
yeah.
Which will be a first for you at Ole Miss, having a pitching coach that Coach B brought in, so that's going to be exciting.
Right. Yeah, I've been working with him for the past 6 weeks here in Oxford all summer. He's been phenomenal.
Great. Aubrey, season kicked off, got a good win to start the season. So from Missouri, spent just a brief amount of time at that school up in Memphis, and then came to Oxford, and then, talk a little bit about, your experience here, what you're looking forward to this last season, and kind of what are some of the goals that you've set for yourself.
Yeah, ever since I've gotten here, I've honestly really enjoyed my time, and the support from the community is unmatched at any school I looked at when I was in the transfer process. And I feel like, kind of what Hunter said, we have a lot of unfinished business. We got a new coaching staff this past year, and we have a lot of goals, and we're looking forward to the tournament and just getting the SEC play.
That's right. Busy summer for you, Mike, playing golf, on the road a ton. You get a little bit of a break now before you go back at it again. How's the swing? How you feeling about your game? And probably pretty good to have a little time off too as school starts, right?
Yeah, no, it's great. Everything feels pretty good. I know the guys are pretty pumped up to be back at school. I think we've been kind of biting to get back at the bit, especially over the summer. We didn't really see each other a ton. Now that we're all back in Oxford and everybody's in the community, I think we're pretty excited to go start playing golf again. So,
yeah. Other than you taking me from a 7 to a 3 handicap in your downtime, what is like a goal? What are some of the goals for you as you look forward to this next? Both from a team standpoint and both individually for you.
Yeah, no, I think the team's pretty hungry to get back where we started. We had a great season last year. I think we're pretty excited to go play SECs and try and get a title there. National championship, it's always that's always in the talk around the guys.
This guy can maybe help you, give you a little advice on that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I think we had a good season last year. I think we're definitely building off it this year. We got a bunch of guys returning. And so I think it's just going to be a great year this year, and I think everybody's pretty excited to go play. So.
Yeah. Well, and one thing we talk about a lot too, the transfer portal has changed, not only NIL, but the transfer portal has changed college athletics, and there's a lot of positives with that. One of the challenges, and we talk to the coaches about all the time, is how do you create culture with all the new faces coming in? And the best teams are the ones that are kind of player-led, where the players kind of take over the locker room and take over that culture. Coach can only do so much. So, a question for all three of you, starting with you, Hunter, just, being a leader, you guys are all veterans, you've been around the game for a long time in your respective sports. What do you guys try to do with some of the new faces that come in to try to not only maintain the good things about the culture, but grow on it and integrate those new faces to the team concept?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in college it's just so important. The culture is really everything, especially in baseball. I think what I've kind of done over my last 3 years is kind of observe, kind of work my way into a little bit of a leadership role, see what the really good leaders did, and kind of make mental cues of that. I've talked to some guys that have led us really good, and guys that I thought were big influences on me. But really, I think with new guys, it's just making them feel welcome, make them feel like it's their home, because I know that's what, I mean, coming in, freshman, transfer, you're trying to kind of walk on thin ice is kind of how you feel. But I mean, it's just making them feel just super comfortable. That's how you get a good culture, I think, and then showing them that you care and showing them that you love them.
Yeah, that's great. And then, I mean, you're an individual sport that has a team component, so it's a little different for you, you know, with the team focus and then the individual focus, obviously. What's that dynamic like in golf as you're trying to kind of mold everybody together, but at the same time know there's an individual component to it as well?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we have a pretty small team. You know, the brotherhood there is like very, very strong. We have a lot of kids. I think we have 4 sophomores last year that are all going to be rising juniors. So we have a very strong class that I'm in. I think that's great because everybody just gets along so well. We have a lot of 2 kids coming in from Mississippi in the West Point area. And so like kind of having that like culture, and everybody loves being around Oxford. I know they talk about it all the time.
That's right.
And so it just makes them feel so welcome. And I think it's something to be a part of that's pretty special, having such a small team, having like guys, at least all the juniors on the team now, like the leadership that we have, everybody's holding each other accountable. I think that's just something that's, you know, it's so special to be around and be a part of. So.
Absolutely. Aubrey, you talked about how much you've loved it here since you've been here. Kind of probably similar question to you, just integrating the new pieces with the old and returners, you know, for you guys in soccer.
Yeah, we put a really strong emphasis on not having a hierarchy on our team, and no matter your age or playing time, everyone's like empowered to be a leader in their own way. And I think that's created a really unique bond between all of us, and we trust each other like on a level that is really hard to replicate.
That's good. That's good. And obviously, the 3 of you, along with many of your teammates and other athletes here, are Grove Collective athletes. Just real briefly, what it means to be able to partake in NIL and what that means for you guys both personally, and then any other passions or platforms that you guys have that NIL helps make a reality for you.
Yeah, we're extremely lucky to have you guys, the Grove Collective, but I really just think what makes the Grove Collective is the supporters and the guys that are showing their support, the fans and everyone. It means a ton, though. It really helped a lot with my decision to return, and I couldn't be more grateful.
Yeah, I think it's great, especially like the Grove Collective supports like the smaller athletic teams. I know from the golf team, I mean, we're so thankful that we can be a part of the Grove Collective, and you guys support the smaller sports.
Absolutely.
I think that's something that I don't think we take for granted as much as we should, but I really appreciate everything that the Grove Collective does for us, you know, as a golf team. It's just so special to be a part of. So.
Absolutely. Aubrey?
Yeah. And I know from soccer standpoint, like support for NIL in the women's game is not standard across the country, so it means a lot to all of us that the Grove has taken part in like investing into us and investing into our sport and culture.
Awesome. That's great. Well, last question before I let you guys go, other than the fact I need both of your barbers' information, because that lettuce that you guys have is unmatched, okay? But real fast, I always ask this question for athletes. You got this question this weekend, so I'm gonna let you go first. Right. But if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would it be?
I'm going to go with LeBron James, Jordan Spieth, and I might change my answer a little bit. I'm going to go with Clayton Kershaw, best left-handed pitcher of all time.
There you go. Okay. I know 2 of those 3, by the way, former Under Armour athletes.
Yeah, that's right.
Let me see if I can hook you up.
Okay.
All right, what you got?
If I'd have dinner with 3 people.
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive.
Yeah.
I would definitely say Tiger Woods.
Good one.
I would also say Arnold Palmer would be a pretty cool person to have dinner with. And then for a third one, you know, I'd probably say my dad. You know, he's been a good role model in my life. So
that's a great answer. That's a good dinner.
The dinner.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to be part of that one. What about you, Aubrey?
I think I would have to go Alex Morgan,
Former Olympian.
Former
Yeah.
Olympian. This is a hard question. I don't really feel like I know a lot of people.
Maybe an entertainer or music or an
I'm going to
actor?
go with Taylor Swift, and I'm going to bounce off Michael and say my grandma.
There you go. Okay, that's another good collection. Well, again, you know why it's so important to have our athletes, and again, nothing's more core and rewarding than working with our student athletes every day. So we got 3 great ones here. I want to thank all of you for what you do for Ole Miss, what you do for the Grove Collective. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing these 3 have big years coming up. Hotty toddy, we'll be back shortly.
back at the Grove Collection Day and having a great time. Boys, great interviews with 3 of our
Phenomenal
players. We got another one coming up here in just a moment. We're looking forward to that. Just around the corner, we've got Coach Beard. We got Coach Bianco coming up too. And, you know, when you think about this day in the week, it's an important week for these kids that play for Ole Miss.
It is, and you know, we talked, DK, you talked about the student-athlete panel we had right before this, and we're joined by another really great story, another one of our student-athletes, Braden Waterman, who's here, quarterback on our football team, has a great story to tell. We signed Braden last year with the Grove Collective Ambassador, and we've gotten a lot of questions, a lot of comments, people wanting to know more about what's going on with Braden. So, Braden, it's great to have you here. Join us today. Yeah, it's great to have you. So give everybody a little update on what's going on with you, kind of your journey the last 3 or 4 years, and kind of where we are today with you and your health.
Sure. So I guess a little bit about me is, so I got diagnosed with stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma back in 2020. Beat it, it came back, and I was like, don't really want to do any more treatment, so kind of just, I literally left it in my body, played football, got to Ole Miss, and then late last year, it came back again. Beat it again, and then earlier this year, it came back again, and so I went through a stem cell transplant just a month ago, and beat it, and now we are officially cancer-free.
That is awesome.
I know.
Woo! Awesome.
Let's go.
Yes,
man, that's awesome to hear.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's
you know,
been
when you
a
think about
journey.
competition, you know, you've been in sports, you're a quarterback, goodness gracious, you know what the football world's like, but you've also been in a battle with this disease, and so you've had kind of 2 ongoing battles.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's been a battle for sure, man. I mean, you know, the highs and the lows for sure. I mean, we talk about that with football, right? But I mean, there's definitely highs and lows with cancer as well, right? I mean, there was highs obviously when I beat it, and then there was obviously lows when I was like, dude, like this thing's come back again. And so, you know, just having that mindset to be like, hey, like I'm gonna be okay, right? We're gonna fight this thing again, and we're gonna make sure that this thing stays gone for sure.
We got you listed being from Bakersfield, California, but you told us before we came on that's not really true.
No, I'm originally from Paso Robles.
Okay.
Nobody knows where that's at, so I tell everybody from Bakersfield.
Yeah.
Bakersfield's
Like
a bigger
right
city.
down the road.
I was picking it. I said,
It's more inland, yeah.
most of us in Mississippi don't know where Bakersfield is either. But
Yeah.
anyway,
California.
what got you from there to
California.
here?
Man, I love the South. When I came over here back in 2021 on a visit, like an unofficial visit, and I came for the Tulane game back when Coach Lev and Coach Lane just got here, and I was like, dude, I love this place. There's no other place that I want to be, and that's kind of what drove this whole thing. And so when Coach Kiff gave me the call, I was like, hey, we got a spot for you. I was like, I'm coming. I don't care what it costs. I don't care whatever. I'm coming. So that was kind of the.
That's awesome. What a great story. I mean, just again, how you've battled adversity, like DK said, and both on the field and off the field. I'm sure being an athlete, that competitive nature has helped you and,
for sure.
and get you to this point now. You know, when you couldn't work out and you couldn't compete, you called me last week and you told me about a hobby of yours. And before we show that, kind of tell us a little bit about how that happened.
Yeah. So when I got sick, this actually started back in 2020. I got sick and I had nothing to do. And I was sitting around the house because I couldn't be around anybody, right? And I was like, growing up, I just loved custom one-on-one stuff. I would wear mismatched shoes and like tights that would be they would have lightning strikes on it. It was the weirdest stuff, but I loved to stand out, right? And so I picked up this I was like, well, let's start painting shoes, right? And so me and my dad, we built a little place outside, and so I started painting these shoes, and that it kind of took off from there. And then I stopped for a while, and then I got sick, just this year again, and I was like, well, I love Ole Miss, I love Realtree, and so let's put the 2 together, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what started these shoes, and so I started looking online, and so I found these shoes.
So we got little Cali and South
and
mixed together.
Mississippi, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
so these shoes are super hard to find. So I was looking everywhere, and I finally found them, and so that's kind of what started this whole thing. And so I was like, hey, let's auction them off. Let's give them to somebody, and let's go from there.
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, what a great tease for this unveil.
Exactly.
But so, and obviously Realtree, a great Ole Miss brand, Tyler and Bill Jordan,
right.
Great Ole Miss fans and great supporters, and it's kind of bringing 2 great brands together. A great story year. So, we want to show these off. Now these are
Wow.
DK, I don't know if you and I can pull these off.
I know. We can.
I don't know.
I can't. You might.
I don't know if we can. Now, Braden can pull these off.
Check it out. I'd
I
like to
don't
wear them
know.
downtown
might-
to see what people say.
Hey, we might just be like, hey, let's
I
just,
know.
let's just
Show
keep
that
them
off there.
ourselves, you
Yeah,
know?
show that off there.
Yeah,
Look at
so
those.
this is we got the Ole Miss logo right here. Obviously, we got the real tree here. Laces. Obviously, we got the Grove tree
Collective
right there.
logo, yeah.
Yep. And then we got the sip on the back right there.
Oh yeah.
And that's
Cool.
it, man. It's a one-on-one
So that's
shoe.
kind of a combination of their water pattern and
Yeah.
woods pattern.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
and then we got obviously we got sip on the front. I mean, we can't
Those
go
are
wrong there.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great. So, a really cool deal we're doing with Braden. So today we're going to auction off this pair of Real Tree shoes.
Yep.
There are very few models of these out there, and half the proceeds are going to go to the Grove Collective. The other half are going to go to Braden in supporting his
Excellent.
platform around cancer research and his
Yeah,
story.
We're going to donate this to some sort of cancer research, and hopefully help support somebody.
Yeah,
no
so
doubt.
go to our website, grovecollective.com. You'll be able to go on there and put a bid. The highest bidder today will win these shoes, and there's
And we are
one
getting
more
them
little,
signed, right?
yeah. So
We're
there's
getting
one more
signed,
little
right?
pieces. We're gonna have Braden sign them. We're gonna have Jackson Dart sign them,
you go.
and Coach Lane Kiffin sign them.
Oh wow.
So we're gonna have those three sign these,
Jeez.
and that's a pretty cool deal.
That's a pretty. Yeah,
Make sure,
that's pretty cool
make
right
sure
there.
Lane doesn't steal them now. He might.
Yeah,
I can
I
see
know.
Kiffin wearing
I'm
these.
gonna make sure that he don't
All
get them.
yeah.
He'd be
So
one of those round town.
go to our website, bid on these shoes. The highest bidder today will win these autographed by those three great people. And Braden, what a phenomenal story to
Yeah.
have you here and be a part of the Grove Collective and
Yeah.
everything you're doing. We obviously wish you continued health.
Yeah.
But it's great to have you back here in class
Thank you.
with the football team. How good
Yeah.
does it feel to be back on campus, ready for school to start?
Like a dream, literally. I mean, I never thought I'd be back, doing what I love to do. So this
Well,
is,
and we'll
this is a
keep
dream come
praying for
true.
your battle too, and
Yeah,
and
thank you.
encourage you to encourage others because it's
For
not
sure.
an age thing. It's amazing how to catch up with younger
Amen.
folks too sometimes.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys.
Braden,
and
thank you. We appreciate
guys
you.
have been great.
Hey, we're gonna be pretty good now. I've been to several scrimmages.
There we go. We are going to be pretty good.
I like the depth on that defensive front.
Yes.
They're getting after.
I
our
don't think he
quarterbacks
wants to play
pretty
quarterback against our
good. I know.
I know I wouldn't.
Hey, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have Rebel head basketball coach Chris Beard.
Rebel Nation, welcome back. Second annual Grove Collection Day, and have another special guest, Coach Chris Beard, from our men's basketball program going into year 2, Coach. And, I know our fans have really stepped up, from when you arrived here last year and, the support they've given you to continue to build your program the way you want to build it. Yeah, talk a little bit about what that means to you, like I said, going into year 2 and putting the kind of roster together that you're looking for.
Yeah, it means everything to us. I think Ole Miss is special for so many reasons. It's the people. And one of the most important groups of people is our supporters, our donors. In my opinion, the Grove Collective is ahead of its time. When I think about it, it's like strength in numbers, right? We're so appreciative of everybody that joins at every different level. It's a real team effort when you think about Ole Miss and the Grove Collective and name, image, and likeness. And we're excited. There's a lot of internal optimism right now in our program. We established some things year 1. We'll always be thankful and appreciative of our first team, but certainly we have some goals in mind as we continue to build this program and our ability to have the funds and resources that we need because of the Grove Collective and all the great Ole Miss supporters out there. Just give us a chance.
Yeah, exactly. Coach, you've built a lot of programs over your coaching career, taking 3 programs in the NCAA since 2016, won over 70% of your games. Talk a little bit to our fans about what your expectations in year 2. I know at Texas Tech, that year 2 was kind of the springboard year, Final Four, or Elite 8 and 30-plus wins. Your expectations in year 2 based off your experience of building programs successfully like you've done, what our fans can expect.
Well, I think the key thing is what you already mentioned, the word expectations. Year 2, we raise the bar, and everybody in the organization knows it, including the most important group of guys, and that's the players. So we've had some success at different programs between year 1 and 2. Year 1 is about building the culture. Then year 2 is about defending it and executing. So we feel like we're in a great place here at Ole Miss. I think, everybody wishes they could just do it overnight. It's a building process.
Yep.
There's no doubt about it. We don't shy from it. We have some big expectations going into year 2.
Yeah, Coach, when you talk about that, you look at, let's talk about the roster specifically, and you return, 3 of your top 4 scorers, a good nucleus of returning guys. You went out 6 transfers, 5 of those 6 are seniors. I know when I met with the team, I kept hearing the word maturity and veteran, and I think what we've seen recently in NCAA teams that are a little older in the tooth, so to speak, in a good way, generally make some of the better runs in postseason. Talk a little bit about the makeup of this team with that core returning, the 2 high school kids, Bowl and Klafke coming in, and then those 6 transfers and, the balance that gives you with this roster.
Yeah, we definitely had a blueprint in mind. We had a plan to execute. We wanted to stay older. In my opinion, there's a relationship in college basketball between experience and winning. And we wanted to do that in 3 groups. It's nice to have some returners with Brakefield and Matt and Juju and Rob and TJ returning. It gives us a nucleus of guys that understand what's expected in Ole Miss basketball. It gives us a chance to have great internal leadership of guys that have already been in our program. And we got some really good talent in that group of players. The second group, to stay old and to have the talent that we need to compete in the SEC, is obviously the transfer portal. And obviously we got some talented guys that have all won at their past schools. Several guys have played in the NCAA tournament. A lot of guys have filled up the stat sheet. But equally important to us is we believe these 6 guys can play together. I've always thought roster construction and management isn't just about adding the best pieces. It's a team sport. So everybody's got to play together, and we feel confident with those 6. And then definitely the bloodline of the program is we got to establish ourselves in high school recruiting. This will be our first recruiting class at Ole Miss with young guys, but certainly with John Bowl, the second McDonald's All-American in Ole Miss history, has a chance to play early in his career because of how hard he plays. Eduardo Klafke, a skilled guard, had a great summer. It's up to 200 pounds now, playing a lot of confidence. And then young Zach Day. So those 3 freshmen in that recruiting class combined with the portal guys and our returners give us a chance that we think we have talent enough to compete. We also have that experience enough to be good in college basketball.
Yeah, Coach, when we talk, I know it seems like now in the coach's life there's really no downtime, with the transfer portal and recruiting and then managing your current roster. What's life like right now for you and your staff? Just tell our fans, from now until you get started really in, September, late October, October, obviously going into the season in November, kind of what these next 90 days looks like for you and the staff.
Yeah, just like everybody's life, our calendar's kind of built into segments. The NCAA gave us 8 weeks of summer with our team. This is the last week right now, week 8. We've had a really good summer. A lot of guys have improved. Our team's come together. A lot of team chemistry, bonding, kind of culture things. So I've been really proud. I've enjoyed this summer. I love being around these guys. I can't wait for our fans to see our guys play. We do have a small break, about 11 days of break between when summer ends and fall classes start. And so during this break, we encourage the guys to get some much needed rest.
Yep.
And from a coaching standpoint, not much time off, but I am looking forward to seeing my
11 whole days.
Yeah, I am looking forward to seeing my 3 daughters. We try to split it equally, that each daughter gets 3 days, and I got 2 days to myself.
Not much time for you, huh? Coach, we talked a lot about, naming his likeness and how the game's changed and all that. And you mentioned the 8 weeks that you've had here in the summer. When you have the core returning, then a big group coming in, and then your high school group, what, from a coaching standpoint, about building continuity? It was great for Brake and Morrell and Juju to come back, give you some continuity there. But when you try to get all these new pieces together as a coaching staff, is it a lot of off-court team building? Obviously, there's a lot of time on the court. Like, how do you get that? Because, as we all know, the locker room and continuity and culture is so important. What's that challenge look like in today's world of college athletics?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge because, above all, we're fighting time.
Yeah.
That's our biggest obstacle. If you told me I had 3 years to get this team ready, I'd probably be playing golf right now. I'd be so confident. But that's not the reality. So we're fighting time. We're going to be playing against teams that have been together longer than us. And so we start by embracing that and understanding it. This summer, Obviously, a lot of basketball stuff, individual stuff with players, team practice, but probably as important as anything is just getting the guys to spend time with each other off the court. We call that relationship building. Tell the players, in my opinion, relationships just don't happen naturally. You got to work at it. And so we've encouraged the guys to do that. Some of that stuff is team-based, whether it be a team trip to Memphis to see the civil rights history, or whether it's bowling night or pickleball, which, by the way, pickleball is on fire right now.
Do you partake like our head football coach?
I compete when it's time to play, but I do not prepare and practice like Lane does. And I encourage the Grove Collective. We got to get in this pickleball.
We do.
Fundraiser going involved with pickleball.
We do.
But the cool thing about this year's team, I'll never forget this, is we've had a lot of internal stuff that the coaches didn't set up. And Matt Morrell takes the student managers out to dinner one night. When Sean Padula and Brakefield and Juju, get with the young guys. But there's been a lot of things on the weekends and during the week with this team that have just felt right. And we all know, Walker, you know this as much as me, championship teams are player-led.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of accountability right now with our guys as they build relationships. It feels good around here.
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate enough to be able to meet with all the players individually and as a team. And, again, what struck me was their maturity and their buy-in. And like we talked about earlier, the ability to be an experienced team in the grind of SEC play, which is really important. Coach, before we close here, just a little bit, Rebel Nation, you've always been a guy that's really had an open program, and you've been very inviting to our fans. You want them to feel a part of the program, and as we continue to kind of navigate this world and our fans stepping up and supporting you, anything you'd like to say to Rebel Nation just as we go into year 2 and, we got to pack the pavilion, the schedule. We have some 2 off-campus games in Mississippi, South Haven, and Biloxi, just about what their support means to you guys and anything you'd like to say for them stepping up to help us put this roster together.
Yeah, absolutely. First is thank you. I can't tell you enough how cool a place Ole Miss is to work, go to school. Our coaches here, their families love it here. Our players love Ole Miss. In recruiting, when we get a guy on campus to an official visit, it's not hard to close the deal because it's a special place. And it's a special place, again, because of the people. I just want to thank every fan, season ticket holders, people that spend their time and money to come to games, and certainly with the Grove Collective being really the most important ingredient in college basketball right now, our ability to compete in the name, image, and likeness space. We can't do it without you, so thank you. Thank you for everything that you do. This is a great job and a cool place to be because of you. And then second and finally, we need your help. We need to create a home court advantage. We saw it year 1. There were some select games, whether it be Memphis or Auburn at home. There's not a better place to play basketball in college basketball than the Pavilion. We have the nicest facility. We have the best fan base. The only thing we're missing is just consistency, where we can get to where every single game, no matter who we're playing, what time it is, that we can fill the arena. And on the nights that you can't come to the games, that you take the time and effort to give your tickets to another Ole Miss fan. But that's really the 2 things. Thank you. And we need you. We have no plan to win at Ole Miss without the idea that we have the best home court in college basketball.
Exactly. And as you've shown in your career, that year 2 can be pretty special. So, Coach, we appreciate it. I guess my only request to you is maybe as possibly a fundraising opportunity, we get a challenge match on the pickleball court, you versus Lane. You each get to pick your partner.
Yeah.
What partner would you pick? Is there a guy on your staff who's really good or a player?
Yeah, it's no secret. I'm going with John Riley.
John Riley, okay.
He's the most competitive guy I know. Now, John's been a little banged up health-wise right now.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to throw excuses out there to Lane or anything, but I do need John to pass a physical, and we might get a little time for him to pass some medical clearance. But when John Riley is healthy, I would accept that challenge.
Yeah, I think Lane would probably accept it too. He's pretty selective of his partner. Could be dart, could be pre-scoring, but maybe Rebel Nation, that could be something looking forward to, a live stream match between Coach Chris Beard and Coach Lane Kiffin on the pickleball court. So stay tuned for that. But again, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. And Rebel fans, thank you for your support of men's basketball. Hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy.
And welcome back to Grove Collection Day, a big week we've got going, starting it with this live event. And Walker's got, you got an update, right? Do you have an update?
Yeah, DK, we got an update. Really proud of our fans, again, answering the call. We've had several 5- and 6-figure gifts come in already this morning, which is great. And, you know, one thing we talk about is our membership, the recurring revenue that our membership brings. We got over 5,000 members, which is probably top 5, top 10 in the country. So we have a bunch of our members that are upgrading their membership, their current membership, or we have people new that are joining, and then making one-time gifts. So really, that's really the key to all this, is that recurring investment in revenue from a month-to-month basis, so we can budget out and project cash flow and those type things. So really appreciative of our members of the Grove Collective for what they're doing right now online, going to our website. Last year, I think we shut the website down. I think like it blew up. And that's in the business, that's a good
thing.
problem to
That's
have.
a good thing.
So we would love
A lot
to
of
start
people
getting
there.
text messages saying, I can't donate online, so let's maybe try to shut the website down again.
I got you. Well, you know, I guess we ought to revisit too. The priority points piece is new this year.
Priority points, again, a great bold move by Keith Carter and Denson and Matt and the Athletic Foundation for allowing us to do that. So our fans are all going to get rewarded, regardless of the size of your financial commitment these next 7 days. So really excited about that.
Hey, and we're privileged to have right now head coach Mike Bianco of the Ole Miss baseball team. Good to see you again. 25th year coming up.
Wow,
It's
that's
flown
a big
by,
number.
hasn't
it?
Yeah.
25
It's a big number.
years.
We do this a lot, but I don't remember it ever feeling that big. So 25's got a big ring to it. So,
I've
but I
interviewed
appreciate
you.
it. Thanks
I'm
for
up
having me.
to 7,822 interviews, I think.
Yeah,
all the
sure.
pregame for baseball.
We have the record.
But hey, it's great to see you. And I wanted to start, Walker, if it's okay, just talk about Hunter Elliott.
Yeah.
You know, you got a ton of players. We can't talk about everybody, but we just had him on this show just a few minutes ago. And how exciting is it for him to, you know, be back, be healthy, and ready to roll?
Well, you know, I don't know if there's anybody more excited than Mike Bianco that Hunter Elliott's back, and it's been a long road for him, and you guys have seen it, you know, through history. It doesn't matter if you're in football or baseball, basketball, whatever the sport. Injuries happen, you know, and this is one of the unfortunately one of the injuries in our game that's pretty prevalent now, to tear your UCL. And guys come back, but it's a long rehab. It's a grind, not just physically but mentally as well. And because of when it happened, because you know, Hunter tried to pitch in that year, and you know, and couldn't do it. That kind of pushed that surgery back, and so next thing you know, he's going to miss the next season, unfortunately. But now it's actually happening at a good time, because he's going to throw some live BPs, you know, in the next month. Throw live this fall, you know, in scrimmages. Then probably shut down for a little bit, and then ramp back up for the season. So I know he's chomping at the bit, and I know the fans are, you know, super excited, but we're super excited as well.
No doubt.
Yeah, Coach, you know, we talk about in the world of NIL and, you know, the difference of the changes that it's bringing from recruiting, it brought about the changes to the recruiting aspect, the dynamic of retaining your team, and potential for transfers in the portal. You know, we look at those 3 buckets: your high school recruiting, your transfer portal, then your retention of your roster. If you don't mind, give us a quick just overview of kind of those 3 buckets, obviously starting with guys like Hunter that we were able to retain, that are kind of the nucleus. And then, you know, the portal guys, we had a big portal class this year to solve some needs. And then one of the highest ranked high school classes in program history.
No, you're exactly right, and it has changed, and I know it's changed dramatically in our sport, and I would assume in football and basketball and all the other sports as well. And you're right. You know, we met with you earlier in the summer trying to give you the idea of where you know our heads are, and it changes, and it changes from week to week. You know, one of the differences in our sport, which you know I think is the first part of your question, is you know, trying to keep those kids that are eligible for the draft. And I know that kids can leave early in football and basketball, but none more than baseball, right? You know, where your roster can change, you know, on a dime. And now that they pushed the Major League Baseball draft back to middle of July, you know, we're kind of on pins and needles. And because of NIL, because of things like the Grove Collective, we've never been able to really do this before, but there's an attractive thing for kids like Hunter, guys like Riley Maddox, guys like Mason Nichols, guys like Connor Spencer, where everybody wants to graduate. Everybody came here to walk away with a degree. but this is more incentive for them, personally, to be able to come back and maybe push back their professional career for one more year. And so one of the things that I think, was a difference maker for us on this coming team was to be able to hold on to, 3 guys that were SEC weekend starters and one of the best closers in our conference, and maybe now coming, into his senior year, one of the best closers in the country in Connor Spencer. So to hold on to Maddox, Elliott, Nichols, and then Spencer, I thought was a huge difference, for us. You mentioned, of course, everybody talks about the transfer portal, and one of the things as we started and looked at this roster, we circle needs. What are we going to need? And so when we looked up, we said we need some catching depth. We got to sign 2 catchers, and we did, and Foley and Reuter, that I think, along with Campbell Smithwick, really strengthens our roster up. One of the things that we realize is the position players to get guys that have played at this level. Maybe it might not be this conference, maybe it's the ACC or Big 12, Big 10, but somebody, guys that have played high level, older position players win. And so I think when you look at some of our portal signees, when you look at guys like Isaac Humphrey and Mitch Sanford and Ryan Moorman, these are guys that played in Power 5 schools and Power 5 conferences that had huge success. And Luke Chang, a shortstop that's a defensive wizard, and others in that portal class. We can't mention them all, but one of the things that we went and got our needs and really filled that bucket. So along with the pro guys retaining the current players, that was huge. And then, of course, the old school recruiting, right? The high school
Remember
kids.
that.
Yeah, and kids that have been committed in this program. But we had in this upcoming class that's actually on campus right now, 5 top 100 high school players. So a class that's probably somewhere around 5th, 6th, 7th in the country. And can you retain those? Because, again, our sport different. How do you keep those kids, and get them to show up on campus? It's almost recruiting them twice, right? Recruiting them to come to Ole Miss.
And then get them to the draft.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because of NIL, because of some of the things that you were able to do, with the collective, we had 4 of those 5 guys showed up. We only lost one of those players, and he was a first rounder and signed for over $3 million. And
DK didn't give us that
Come
$3
on,
million
Walker.
to keep.
And
Step up the plate, man.
maybe next year. But yeah, we're super excited, and I've shared this with you and some of the collective membership this weekend that on paper this is as talented team as maybe since 21 when we had Hoagland returning and Nikhazy returning, and you had Elko Bench and all those guys. So we're super excited about the team.
Yeah, Coach. For you guys. We talked to some of the players about it too, and coaches. Obviously you want to have a player-led team. You want them to run the clubhouse, so to speak. But for you guys, again, taking with the 2 new pieces, the high school piece and the portal piece, how much from a coaching staff do you guys work? I know Chris Beard talked about it this weekend about the work that they have. They're fighting time and getting all those new faces in. For you guys, the challenge of the coach staff, try to integrate those guys. Obviously, you've been here 25 years now, so you have some non-negotiables and you have some standards in your program that carry forward year to year. But just talk real briefly just about you as a staff setting that example and then having the players take it from there.
Right, and I think in the era of college athletics today, with the transfer portal, guys leaving, from one school, you want to recruit good kids, and that's what you're hopeful to do. But you want to rely on your older guys, and that's one of the things that when we brought guys in, of course, you're not going to have that from the high school, but from the portal side, from the returning, I think it's so important. I know in our sport, old wins. Right, old pitchers, old position players, guys that have been through the wars, have had adversity. Guys like Hunter Elliott and others that, either through injury or just through, the toughness of your sport, you're going to fail, at this game, especially in the Southeastern Conference at its highest level in all the sports. But when you got guys like, Elliott, Nichols, and Maddox, and guys that have been in the dog fights of the Southeastern Conference, I think it helps so much those younger guys, and not to mention when we talked about returning those guys, 3 of the 4 are not, all 4 are Mississippi kids, that are coming back. But 3 of them have national championship rings. They were in that dog pile just 2 years ago. And so I think that means a lot. They understand what it takes to be successful. And so that was also important. And then when you get guys from other Power 5 schools, that they've been in their own battles, in their own conferences and so on. And when you combine that to some of the older guys, I think everybody's on the same page. They know professional baseball's out there at some point, but you don't get to this point unless you want to get back to Omaha and win a national championship. And certainly talent matters, but culture, matters as much as anything.
Absolutely.
And we'll close with Hunter again, too, because we started with Hunter. We'll kind of close with him. Walker did a good job of asking him about leadership. They got into a leadership conversation. And he said, I sat back last 2 years, just kind of watched everybody else, kind of got a feel for what it's like. And now he feels like he needs to step forward and be a leader. Without the collective, he might be playing pro ball this year, but it's good to have someone who has the leadership skills he does, and some of these other guys you've mentioned too that are returning. So you really should have some front runners in the leadership room.
And they said that a little bit to your members this weekend.
That's right.
That were on campus. One of the things that stuck out, unbeknownst to me, and I didn't know this, I don't know if it was Riley or Hunter, one of them mentioned talking, they've reached out to guys like Elko and guys from that 22 club, to get, to kind of pick their brain, what it means. We all talk about leadership, but what did you do different? Because people remember the championship, but forgot at one point we were 7-14 in that season, and it was because of those leaders that held it together. And I think that's super important. And these guys, Riley said it, Nichols said it, Elliott has said it, that they've had success in this program, but they've also been punched in the mouth the last couple of years. And so these are guys that are super hungry, to leave this place, better than it was when they got here. And they're wearing championship rings, but they want another one.
Big football season coming up, but fall ball right around the corner too for baseball.
We're a month away, so we're super excited.
Coach Mike Bianco. Hey, we're going to be back in just a moment, and we'll have another one of our head coaches. Coach Yo's in the house next.
Hello, Rebel Nation. Welcome back to our second annual Grove Collection Day. I'm joined by a very special guest, Coach Yo from women's basketball, coming off a 24-9 season, another successful year, Coach. And, as we get further and further into this world, the new world of college athletics with NIL and all that, tell us a little bit about, coming off last year's success and what you were looking forward in building this next team that our fans are going to see.
Yeah, it's interesting because now we're on the road recruiting, and I'm hearing a lot of sob stories from programs that just talk about not having the support. And, for me here at Ole Miss, I can't relate because you all have been incredible with the support and anytime Walker and the Grove Collective has asked, you all have stepped up to the plate. And because of that, it makes our players feel valued. It gives me an opportunity to go out and try to get the best players possible for our program. For us, we're going to stay consistent with our formula. Our formula is to get people that want to be here at Ole Miss, that fit into the community here, which in my opinion is always going to be that blue-collar community. And we do that by just evaluating at a high level. So last year, obviously, we were able to have a lot of success. We had an injury that really kind of set us back. When I say set us back, like probably 2 games, but 2 games that would have maybe allowed us to host.
Yeah.
And so we're knocking at the door. We went into the portal again, thanks to you all, and now we are in a situation where we're gonna just quietly take people out one by one.
There we go. I love it. I love it. You know, one of the things we talk about with NIL too is one thing I said it in front of Congress when I was in Washington last year was, you know, our women's basketball team was our first team-wide deal.
Yeah.
You know, and thanks to our fans for helping us do that. But, you know, really proud of the fact that we were able to have all the players in the team take part in NIL and understand what that means. So, you know, when we look at, you know, this year's team coming back, you return 4 of your top 6 scorers. So you got a really great nucleus with Maddie and Kennedy Todd and the others, KK. And you also were able to go out, like you said, in the transfer portal and add some real key pieces there too. And also, you know, I think for the first time ever, I think 4 international players.
Yes, my whole freshman class.
Yeah, it's international. So when you look at this year's roster, you know, what excites you about the core returning, but then those new pieces that are coming in?
Yeah, well, you know, Madison Scott is Ole Miss women's basketball. To the point, I mean, this is her 5th year. She is the last of the Mohegans when it comes to 5-year seniors. And so she's been here all 5, obviously. She loves it here. Made the commitment. Kennedy Todd Williams we got last year. So what I'm excited about with this group is we have a really healthy mix of players. And I just think if you're going to be competitive, you can't be too young. And then if you want to really build a program, you can't be too old all the time. Yeah. And so there is a sweet spot. So we have, like you mentioned, some of our top returners coming back. KK is healthy and looking great. So I know a lot of people will be excited to see her. But we went in that portal. We got a transfer from UCLA, a post player that we loved out of high school and missed out on. She's going to be stellar for us inside. And they went to the Elite Eight last year. We have a transfer from Colorado, lost in the Elite Eight to UConn last year. Backup point guard for them and going to do great things for us. Star Jacobs, 2-time player of the year in 2 different conferences.
How about that?
Yeah, really just explosive, unorthodox game. And again, we don't get caught up in the rankings. We just go get kids that we think fit our program. And then when you look at our freshmen, we have one from Mali, Africa, Sierra. She's phenomenal, really did a good job in just evaluating her. When you see her, she looks like an Ole Miss player, long, athletic, but very skilled and has played the professional against professional athletes for the majority of her life. Yeah. So when you get international players, they've had that experience of playing like 26 to 30-year-olds on a consistent basis. Same with LL from Brazil. And then we have 2, one from Portugal, combo guard, and then Sofia from Slovenia. So we have been putting in that work.
It's truly a global recruiting effort.
Yes, for sure.
Well, and your background, you know, from where you're from and all that. So.
I mean, I just think it's important to have a healthy mix of different talent that have different perspectives, because the SEC is the baby WNBA. And so now adding Texas and Oklahoma, we've become more competitive, and we have to be creative.
Yeah. You know, Coach, give everybody a little bit just on what's going on. I know you're busy, you're traveling a lot. You got the Bahamian national team. You've got all those other things that everybody's so proud of you for, you know, really growing the sport.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about you, what's going on with you, and what's life like for Coach Yo right now?
Well, you know, Ole Miss is a global brand. I watch often look at for women's basketball, and they go to these different, you know, Caribbean islands. They say someone's there with an Ole Miss shirt on. So either we have people traveling there or they're wearing shirts from my camp. So we're a global brand. My foundation is taking off, No Sins with Coach Yo Foundation. We've been doing tons of community work. I want to highlight Madison Scott, who started her foundation. See, this is what I'm talking about with the Growth Collective. Like, my players are putting it to use to give back to the community.
That's right.
So she's had a free clinic, and she had a kids fun day here in Oxford.
Yeah.
And that's thanks to the Growth Collective for just being able to help her put that in place. And so I've been able to do the same as well. We had 8 initiatives we've rolled out, coached the national team, and we're here just working nonstop with our players. They have one more week, and then they take a little break. So we've been recruiting our butts off. We lose 5 big-time players coming out. So we got to go into that and find really good freshmen that fit, and then sit and wait for the portal. That portal is stressful because you don't know what's going to be in there, you know?
Tell me about it. Yeah, I know. I would agree. Coach, last question, too, before we close. You know, the growth of the women's game, you know, with Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, you know, the viewership for the WNBA, you know, I think everybody has loved to watch that grow, you know, and I know you've been a big part of that. Just speak a little bit briefly just about how proud you are to see where the women's game has grown, not just here at Ole Miss, but on a really on a global scale.
Yeah, you know, it's been great. The news just came out that we're going to start collecting units for women's basketball. That's something we've been fighting for. And for people that don't know what units means, if you make the NCAA tournament, we would get nothing for it. It would just be pride, and that's cool. But now we're able to get a financial gain to bring back to the department. And so that's where the value comes in. So the WNBA just signed a new deal that's massive, like $222 million over a 6-year span. The game is just growing, and that's what I want for Rebel Nation. I want us to be every sport type of university. Obviously, I was telling the guys on Paul Feinbaum, like, I'm excited about football coming around. We're football fans too, but all of our sports are doing well, and it's because of you all, and we have to change that culture, because we don't have to just be a football and a men's basketball school. We could be a golf school. We can be tennis, baseball, of course. But also women's basketball.
Absolutely.
And that is what's going on right now. I don't want us to be left behind.
Well, a lot of, you know, thanks to you for what you've done. And I mean, speaking of global, we play a game overseas in Paris, right?
We open up in Paris.
And how cool is that? Huh?
It's going to be amazing. We open, and it's not on a football weekend, a home football weekend.
Yeah.
So we open up in Paris versus Southern California.
What a great
stage.
And
then we play in Canada for Thanksgiving. So
what a great stage.
Moving.
You got to brush up on your French.
I know. Oui. It's what I know right now.
Well, Coach, thanks as always. You're a great representative of not only our women's basketball program, but Ole Miss in general and Ole Miss athletics, like you said. And appreciate all the hard work you've done.
Sure.
And, you know, we're looking forward to watching your squad this year. So, Rebel fans, continue to give. Help Coach Show continue to be a success and a real difference maker on the women's college basketball landscape. Hotty toddy.
And welcome back. And we got to hear from basketball Coach Beard and also Coach Yo, and Walker did a great job visiting with both of them, and the importance of NIL, obviously, to those programs as well. We're about to talk to Rebel head football coach Lane Kiffin, but Walker wants to do an update, financial update, my friend.
Yeah, the reason why we're here today, raising money.
Right.
So we got a great update. We just had a $250,000 gift come in.
Oh, wow.
We've had, I think, over 20 or 30, close to 30 new memberships. We've got a bunch of our annual and monthly members upgrading their membership and making one-time donations. So continue to lead from the front, and that's why we're here to support Coach Kiffin, his program, and all our other programs here at Ole Miss. So we're off to a good start, DK.
Coach, good to have you. I know you're deep into practice. Furman's around the corner. I think you got a mock scrimmage, I guess, left to do before we get ready to go. Just give us your thoughts in general about the camp and how it's going.
Yeah, I think it's going really well. We have a mock game Saturday where we, make sure our substitutions do everything that we would a game, even the exact time and warm-ups and locker room and everything. And we always do that, but I think it's more important than ever because there's so many new players now in this world we live in now. And that aren't used to game days with us. So I think it's been a really good camp so far. I think that the pieces are starting to come together. We've had some injuries, like most people do, and especially receiver-wise offensively, that maybe set us back a little bit. But we're really excited. This should be a really exciting team to watch and see how they develop.
Yeah, we've talked to other coaches about bonding, and you got on the portal thing immediately. You saw the rules and said, okay, this is how we got to attack this, and it's had tremendous success, obviously. But it does bring in a lot of new faces, and but you want them to acclimate themselves with each other and get along, so to speak. And how's that going?
Really well. I think there's a lot to that, where whatever the percentage would have been of where you put your time into X's and O's previously, and this much time into culture, I feel like that's reversed now. We spend a ton of time on culture and in our team, and re-explaining everything, going through all the stuff, because again, you have so many new players, but not just like having a bunch of new freshmen. They're already trained in other ways from other places that we've got to get them to buy into the way that we do things. So that takes some time.
Coach, we've talked a lot. I know when the season ended last year, and you and I and the staff were talking about building this team for this year, and really starting with retaining the core group of guys. Coming off 11-win season, I know you felt really good about the talent level of those guys, but also, to your point, the character and the leadership, and them buying into the program and enjoying being coached by your staff. So, as we put the team together and you try to mold all those pieces, in this whole world of the transfer portal, NIL, and then whatever's left of high school recruiting, talk a little bit. I know you've said repeatedly about they're a really fun group to be around, but the process of identifying, knowing that the portal was opening in January, the process of identifying the core group of guys to bring back, and then the ability for us to compensate them if they were looking at possibly going into the draft, because as we all know, their goal is to ultimately play in the NFL. But the ability for us to compensate them to maybe give us one more year with them.
Yeah, I think that we were very fortunate. I think that a lot of things combined to make this thing work. That one, we ended the season well on a high note, and so that always helps you bringing players back, because there's a good feeling, and people see you winning other players at other places. And then a number of guys that had a chance to go to the NFL and decided to come back. A big piece of that is what was going on. A big piece of that is that financially they're able to make those decisions and weigh those out because of the Grove Collective. And then obviously as coaches we did, but these players also, they recruited these other players and did a great job, and really put together a really talented roster, one more talented than we've had before, but now the pieces all got to work together.
And then just talking a little bit, obviously an offensive guy, you've been well known for your ability to call a game and manage an offense, but with what Pete's built on the defensive side of the ball, really, that's one thing at Ole Miss that we've always kind of struggled with a little bit, and what he's been able to do coming in, and how some of these defenses are looking like a little bit of what he came from in his previous place, and being able to, what that does for your offense, having a defense that we've built so far.
Yeah, that's very refreshing, because as you said, us here, we played good defense at times. We've not played great defense for an extended amount of time, and I think historians here would probably say that's been the case for a long period here at Ole Miss, and that usually takes depth and usually takes up front.
Yeah.
And so that's why we went in the off season, added so many pieces there to try to have a defense like that, which would be really, really awesome to have a defense like that. And then if the offense is running how it has most of the time here, to have those together would be awesome.
And also, too, Coach, I know you've used this analogy, and I think it came up when me, you, and Keith, and maybe the Chancellor were talking one day a while back. But for our fans that are watching, obviously it's Grove Collection Day, and the type of ownership that they can have now in this new model, kind of resembles a little bit of like that Green Bay Packer model, a little bit of where the fans, actually they own part of the team in Green Bay, and it's not the biggest media market, but they all feel a part of it, and a lot of similarities between us and that situation. But just, from our fans, when they come into the vault this year, all those that have given to you and to this program through the collective, about the pride that they should take in watching this team and enjoying the moment of what this team is or can be.
Yeah, I think we talked about that actually in here a year ago about the Green Bay Packers model, and that's what I really feel like has been created here, where you know, like you said, we're not the biggest media market, we're not the biggest school from enrollment standpoint, but you get a family feel, and our players feel that. They feel like, okay, everybody's a piece of this, and you know, they understand like it took a lot to get all this done.
Right.
By you guys, by the fans, by everybody coming together, not just showing up to games, but having the Grove Collective the way that it is, and that's a lot of work and a lot of people investing in them, and they feel that, and that was a big part of them coming together. So like I mentioned the other day, I really urge people to really enjoy the moment, enjoy the season, enjoy each game, because it's not going to happen every year that you have these collection of guys come back and come in, you know. So I think it'll be really awesome to watch too, because like I said, they're really neat kids that really love playing, and they love playing here.
Well, the excitement around here is off the roof. I've been around a long time. It's amazing. You know, the expectations are great, but I think of you and your background, and you've had to deal with those type of expectations previous program. You've surrounded yourself with some coaches that have had to deal with that in the past too. So I guess as a sort of a final question, just how are you managing the expectations of our fan base? And I'm sure you're enjoying it to some degree, that everybody's this pumped up, buying tickets, getting ready.
Yeah, it's where you want to be. You know, you want everyone to be excited, and that's a combination of things. That's a combination of what's come back. It's a combination of what's been done here, you know, over the last couple of years to get to that point that you have these rankings and this attention and stuff. So it's great to be in that situation, but you know, you got to handle that as well. And we spend a lot of time, when we talk about culture, spend a lot of time with these kids about understanding, okay, that's really neat for the program, for the university, for the attention, but that has nothing to do with whether they're going to win games. You know, that's going to be the work, the execution in camp and throughout each week.
Well, before we let Coach go, I know one thing, I know we just talked about injuries before we came in here, and we had some bumps and bruises. Probably most importantly, the pickleball game may be struggling a little bit. You got a little bit of a sore shoulder, or that's the rumor? I'm hearing there's some challenges from Jackson and some of the other players about trying to get you back on the pickleball court because you may be a little bit wounded.
Well, you haven't been around here long enough. We don't discuss injuries to the media. So, you know, you don't want your opponents to know the injuries and know your weak spots and stuff. But we put at the beginning of training camp, we put pickleball away. We played Priest-Corn and Dart one last time and beat them to make sure. And
Did beat them?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a 95% winning percentage against them. Yeah. One day it was hot. We weren't really paying attention. I was messing around with Knox, and then they beat us. But other than that, we beat them every time.
If Walker has one game of eligibility, would he get a snap or no?
Ooh. Maybe not good on good against us because we play with tempo. He'd struggle with the tempo part. Maybe if we play somebody that's more of a huddle, you know, like he can just kind of play the A-gaps.
I need that 20 seconds in between plays. He talked about historically not playing great defense here. No offense taken. I would struggle with the tempo.
Ran down Hines Ward.
I did run down Hines Ward, yeah. I did run down Hines, but I had a huddle in between that.
And a long angle, right?
Yeah, and a big angle, absolutely.
Coach, thanks so much. We sure appreciate you. And we're looking forward to the football season. I know our fans are pumped and excited. Got a little under 2 weeks till we kick it off.
Yeah, we're excited, and thanks again for everything you guys do and the fans out there. And we wouldn't be here to have this opportunity, to have this type of season without everybody on the same page.
Coach Lane Kiffin. When we come back, we're going to switch to some volleyball. Got Bree Henry that we'll visit with next.
Welcome back, Rebel Nation, to our second annual Grove Collection Day, and we're joined by a very special guest, our head women's volleyball coach, Coach Bree Henry.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you, Coach. Before we get into what's been going on with the team and the upcoming season, talk a little bit about, you got some big news at the Henry household this summer. Yeah. What's been going on?
Well, we had our second baby Jones.
Congratulations.
Thank you. He's now just 5 months tomorrow, so that'll be exciting. So living life with 2 kids. It's been a whirlwind, but so much joy at the same time. We're not sleeping completely just yet, but that should be on the horizon.
Yep.
But we're excited. They're excited.
Great. Well, it's always great to grow that household, and what a great place to do it in Oxford, too.
Oh, it's amazing. It was one of the main reasons we loved moving here, and just being able to grow a family in this place is really special.
That's right. Well, so, Coach, going into year 3, tough season last year. Got some veteran leadership coming back a little bit. Talk to us, from a coaching standpoint. You're able to really kind of put your stamp on this program. I know, year 1, you're getting your culture built in, and year 2, you're building that. Year 3, what's the mindset for you and your staff as we go into this 3rd season?
Yeah, so culture is always huge.
Yep.
It's a non-negotiable for us, and we've added some really great pieces along with the athletes that we have already, wanting to really reap the benefits of the great culture that they have started to provide here at Ole Miss. So now it's about, we have the culture and we want to reap those benefits, like I said, and find that success. And, it's really great that we all love each other and we want to be around each other all the time. And, we have a great staff and a great program, but now we want to win.
Yeah.
We want to win.
Exactly.
And we got to win. It's really exciting to be in the SEC right now, and there's just great competition every weeknight and weekend. And I really feel that we're going to be able to compete well this year. I'm very excited.
That's great to hear. Well, when you talk about the identity of your team and the core, you got 2 great returning middle blockers in Peyton and Sasha. They've been Grove Collective athletes for a number of years now, and the legacy that they have a chance to lead, I think they're from a statistical standpoint, in the top in the program history. And talk about how that is the anchor of the team. You look from not only from a talent standpoint, but just leadership, like you said, the culture, that returning nucleus with those 2.
Yeah. We are very privileged to have them back on our team, and they're taking their COVID year and their 5th year with us. And what's been so great with them is building this partnership with them about creating pride at Ole Miss and wanting to be a part of it and wanting to be the foundation of what we're building here. And so when they look back in a few years, they'll be like, I started that with Bree.
That's right.
So that's been really special that they want to commit to doing that with me. And they are just so pivotal on the court. They're so terminal. They bring such great energy. It's kind of hard being a middle. Both of them are middles, and they're off the court for 3 rotations and back on the court for 3 rotations, but they do a really great job of staying in flow with the athletes and knowing what's going on and being in tune from the bench. And they're just great leaders, and they are a great example of what we want to continue to build here.
Absolutely. And then you brought in some new pieces. You had some transfers come in, freshmen come in. Talk a little bit about the new pieces specifically that you're bringing in to again, mold with those returning players.
Yeah. So we have Moki Hana, who is a transfer from UCLA, who's from Hawaii. We're thrilled to have her in that kind of Hawaiian culture on our team. I have multiple conversations with her weekly about like, hey, how did you become the person that you are? How do you influence this team? Just the joy she has around the sport is really great for us. And she gets into these competitive learning parts of practice, and then just can jump into 6s and flow, and just brings her teammates with her. And it's been exciting to see her kind of start to be a big contributor to our team. And I think that she's going to have a big successful year for us to find that success that we're looking for. And then Emma Ammerman, she's a transfer as well from Pepperdine. She is a 5th-year senior too. She has this competitive spirit that I haven't seen in a long time in some of these young athletes, of just this drive and this motivation to want to be good and have the other people around her be good as well. And then Reagan, she's a transfer as well. She came from Florida. I've never seen someone mold into our culture as well as she has, and especially in the role that she's going to be leading this year. Just everyone embraced her. She embraced our culture, and she wanted to lead our culture. And being someone new, she's done it very well. So we're very excited about those three, along with, we have such a veteran class. We have 7 seniors. So
old teams win.
Yeah,
mature
they
teams
do.
win.
They're veteran, they're mature, they're wise, they know our system. It's been really cool because we haven't had to work on like the fine tune or like, big picture, like how do you do this? It's like they know how to do it. And so now we just get to like really hone it in and be really good at that stuff.
That's great. That's great to hear. Well, Coach, it's a new world in college athletics with NIL and the transfer portal and all the things. We're literally seeing the world of college athletics change right before our very eyes. From a coaching standpoint, how important is it to be able to deploy name, image, and likeness for both retention of your current roster, attraction in the transfer portal, showing the high school athletes that there is a program and a platform here if they so choose to get involved in NIL. Just talk about how you navigate that and how important it is for you and your staff when you build your team.
Yeah. Well, we talked about Peyton and Sasha, and we were able to retain them for their 5th year, and that was just very special for us. And I told you about how important their impact has been for our team. So to be able to do that, and then just to have that example for our, incoming recruiting classes, the transfer portal, and being even for our own team to show that the Grove Collective and NIL is like living and breathing here very well at Ole Miss, and we want to be able to utilize it. And there's been a ton of investment in our team and in volleyball specifically, just worldwide, and it's just it's a big opportunity right now for us to jump on, especially at Ole Miss, of where we are kind of in the SEC where we fall, but we have this huge support that we want to be able to optimize, and if we can do that very well, then we're going to be at the top of the SEC.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, before we let you go, the season's coming up. I think you've got 4 nationally televised games. We start this Saturday, right? Exhibition game with North Alabama, correct?
We do.
And then we open the following week at the Arkansas State Invitational. So exciting schedule, looks like. Get to be on national TV a few times. So I know you're looking forward to that.
Thank you. Yeah, so exhibition, we're going to be gone for like 3 weeks after that. So
we got to get everybody out there to Gillum
Everybody
Center.
get in. We're trying to change a little bit of the fan experience too at Gillum, so it's going to be really cool. So come see what it's about, and then watch our success this year.
Okay, great. Well, I know we're all looking forward to a great season, Coach. Thank you so much for what you do for our university, for your team, the community, and being a great partner to the Grove Collective. And we're really looking forward to this Saturday, and then when you guys come back, packing out the Gillum Center to support you and your team.
Awesome. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
And thanks, Coach Bree Henry. Great to visit with her. Boy, we got a lot of shows still left for you. We're having a great day, a lot of fun on the live day or the live portion of the week for Grove Collection. Walker Jones again here with us. We're about to talk to 2 Olympians in just a moment.
I know, I'm really excited. I've been looking forward to this one for a while.
Money update, though. What you
Yeah,
got going?
money update. Again, the reason why we're all here today, we just had a $500,000 commitment from one of our donors. So
awesome.
Really excited about that. The memberships keep going up. Our people are listening. Coach Kiffin must have said something. I don't know what Lane said that got this one person really excited, but we had a $500,000 gift come in after Coach Kiffin's interview. So just keep that momentum going.
That is absolutely awesome. And we are going to talk some track now. We're so excited about how the program has been just on upswing, doing some great things.
Absolutely.
And the Olympic participation as well. And we have Coach Connie Price-Smith with us here. Looks like she's in her office over there, but we're looking forward to talking to her.
This is our first Zoom on
First
Grove Collection,
Zoom on
so
Grove Collection Day.
I know. So
we only had 2 Grove Collection Days, but this
Yeah,
is the first Zoom, Coach.
Yeah.
And she was recently elected to the all these initials, USTF CCCA Coaches Hall of Fame. And the unique part of it is she's still an active coach. Let's start with a big congratulations. I know track's been your life, but that is awesome.
It is. Thank you. It's really an honor to be selected amongst your peers to go into the Hall of Fame.
And she's got with her on another Zoom way down in Miami, Florida, is Mackenzie Long. Mackenzie, of course, was from Ironton, Ohio, ran for us, was fantastic, and came from NC State to come to Ole Miss.
Transfer, yeah.
3-time NCAA champion in the outdoor 100, 200, and 4x100 relays. Made the Olympic team in Paris and did really well. Won her heat, made the semis, finished, I believe, 7th in the semis, and had to fight through a tough year, hip surgery, the loss of her mom before the Olympics, and all these things. But gosh, what an incredible athlete that we're going to be able to visit with as well, Walker.
Yeah, and I believe this stat is correct. Kenzie, you won 3 national championships in 90 minutes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
90 minutes.
Let's start there. I mean, obviously, I want to talk about Paris and the Olympics, and we obviously having 2 Olympians here. I want to talk about Paris, but just talk about that experience. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that before. 3 championships in an hour and a half. That's that's really special. Talk about that first.
So I was going in it, of course, you know, I wanted to win. That was the main objective. But I also had to keep in mind I had to take each race at a time and worry about that race in the moment. So that's really what I did. I took it upon myself to, lock in and just go on each race and do what I had to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, Kenzie, talk about, we'll get to Paris here in a second, but obviously the loss of your mom was a huge inspiration for you, and I know it was a very tough time for you, but just the moment, I can't imagine, not only representing your country, but over there with what had happened. Just talk to us a little bit about, just that experience of getting prepared for the Olympics, and then what it was like when you actually got there.
Granted that I did win 3 national titles, so it's kind of hard to, enjoy my wins because I don't have my mom. So just going into Paris, it was kind of like another track meet, I didn't want to make it any bigger than what it was. I wanted it to be just like I'm going into another round, or I'm going into 3 more rounds to make it to the final. But yeah, I would probably say just encountering grief on top of all the accomplishments that I've had has been pretty tough. But also you gotta give myself grace, just pat myself on the back because I did a lot of amazing things this year. So that's really what I'm just locking in for the remainder of my career that I have.
Coach, we talked to you about this athlete, and came through the portal and joined us here at Ole Miss. And what has she meant to our track program?
Oh God, she's made our tracking program. She put us on the map basically on the sprints world on the women's side. She came in, she's just not only a great athlete, but she's a great person and a great role model to have around the rest of the women, not just in the sprints, but all across the team look up to her because she has accomplished so much, and she's such a strong person in everything that she's overcome and everything that she's done.
Yeah, Kenzie, talk a little bit about when you were actually there in Paris. I know you said you wanted to treat it like a normal event. obviously you're on the world stage, you're representing your country, you're representing all of us. I know the whole Ole Miss Rebel Nation community was watching you and rooting for you. Is that a burden that you've ever felt before? I know you're obviously running for the memory of your mother and your family and your name and all that stuff, but the burden or the potential burden of representing again, wearing USA on your chest and the program and Coach Connie and everybody that's helped get you to that moment. How do you manage that with all those expectations and kind of culminating in that one moment?
Yeah, it was really difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. Coming out of my collegiate season, I turned pro. So it's kind of like a big adjustment in that aspect because I had to like find everything on my own, treatment wise, therapy wise. Like I had to find everything on my own going into the biggest stage of my life, So it was kind of like dang, like I have to get into these things that I normally had like a normal routine with. So going into the Olympics, I was kind of like not feeling at ease just because I don't have my normal routine that I usually do. But I had to make the positive out of it. I had to do what I had to do for you guys, of course, and everybody, my family, my friends. And then just lock in on what I'm doing on this big stage. And then when I got on that big stage, oh, that was crazy. Oh my goodness. Like seeing the crowd was crazy. Given for the prelims, it wasn't that bad because it was in the morning and there wasn't that many people in the crowd. But for the semifinals, the lights, the people screaming, like it was, I can't even explain to you like the emotions that I was feeling going through that moment. And just before getting in the blocks, I did have a little panic attack. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did catch a little stage fright because it's just a different atmosphere. It's a different environment, and I really just had to feel what that felt like for the finals. And I went into the finals. I was like, okay, I'm fine. I'm okay. And then I had to do what I had to do out of lane 2, which was pretty hard.
Yeah.
But I made it happen and made the finals. So.
Yeah.
Well, and Coach, here's you too. I know you're smiling as you listen to her because you've been there in the same capacity, trying to represent your country on the Olympic stage.
Yeah, and I will say, your first Olympics is very overwhelming when you go into it, and it is a lot of adjustment and a lot of getting used to, and I don't think anybody telling you how it's going to be can prepare you. Mm-hmm. I think it's something that you just have to go through and feel your way through it. And I think Mackenzie did an absolutely fantastic job going in there and getting 7th in the world on the biggest stage of her day. And I know for me competing, it's not easy. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's probably not going to be her last Olympics. I'm going to go out on a limb and
keep training, Kenzie. Keep training, girl.
Yeah, she'll be back. And Coach, with you being a 4-time Olympic, like maybe it gets a little easier. It's still a big burden, but to your point, like that first experience, as we heard Kenzie just say, it can be overwhelming. But again, like I said, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably not going to be her last performance in the Olympics. So again, what she means to your program and the legacy that she's going to help leave for you, I know is really special. Coach, real fast question for you, just the new world of college athletics, and the transfer portal and NIL and all that. How are you kind of managing all that as a coach, and then using somebody like Kenzie as a great ambassador for what she's done and what she will do going forward?
Yeah, she is a great ambassador, and she would definitely help us a lot in our recruiting. The new world of college athletics is something that we're just trying to manage and go through and figure out how to navigate it all. I think as we move into it, with the new scholarship limitations and or scholarship allotments and I guess roster management numbers on how we go out and recruit, and I think that definitely the collective will play a big part in being able to help us out with that. And I think Mackenzie is a great representative of what you can do to help us when we have an athlete like that come in and be comfortable enough that she can train and do the things that she needs to do to win 3 NCAA titles and then go on to make the Olympic team. But it is going to be challenging in college athletics, but it's something that I'm actually looking forward to. So, and figuring out how to navigate it all.
Now, I think, too, before we let them go, Mackenzie, are you going to be able to come back this fall to Oxford and maybe make a game and come see us all?
Yeah, I wanted to come for the homecoming game, so I already put that in mind. I told Raven, and I'm pretty sure Jennifer knows. So
You're
come
coming.
back.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I think we're going to go ahead and start the trend to make that Mackenzie Long Day and maybe
I'm for
recognize her.
I'm for. What do you say, Coach? Yes.
Coach, you're good with that, right?
I'm great with that.
Yeah,
She's been wonderful for our program, and I'm sure her name will continue to be wonderful as a legacy, and I'm sure she'll show love and support to us.
And track alum Sam Kendrick won a silver, and so that's cool.
Yeah.
We'll have to have a Sam Day too.
Yeah, we'll do it. I know my daughter is like, you're going to talk to Mackenzie Long today.
Yes.
It's like I am.
Yeah.
It's like I know.
They're crazy about it.
I know.
I love
they
it.
are.
I
So
love it.
when you come
We
back,
are too.
Yeah, when you come back, Kenzie, we're gonna do something special for you. I'm gonna advocate with Keith. I know it won't take much arm twisting, but we'll do that, DK. Let's get her back here and celebrate her career and all the wonderful things she has and the program that Coach Connie's built. So.
No doubt. And thanks both of you, not only representing the University of Mississippi, but our country as well, in this great capacity and using your platform through track. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you guys so much.
We'll Zoom again someday. How about that?
Yeah, the Zoom works.
Yeah.
Hotty toddy.
Hey, we've got Caden
Hotty
Prescorn
toddy.
coming up. Also, Juice Wells and Jared Ivey off our football team. They're all coming up, and Walker's going to visit with them when we return.
Welcome back to our second annual Grove Collection Day. We've got a bunch of really positive news. Donations are coming in. People are listening. Had some great visits with our head coaches, some of our players, and we're joined again by a player panel, 3 of our football players. This is my favorite time, being able to interact with our players and the difference that NIL makes in these guys' lives and the impact. So really excited to have Juice Wells, Caden Priesthorn, and Jared Ivey. So we got a little offense, defense, a little returning and new. So we'll cover a few topics, guys. Thanks for coming. Juice, I'll start with you. Transfer portal. You know, the world of college athletics now. When you went in the portal, you had a decision to make. You know, what were you looking for, and ultimately what led you here to Oxford?
Competition was the main thing. You know, put me in a position to where I can be on a team that can make me better, and we can also make each other better, and have an opportunity at a national championship was my main focus, and Oxford was the best fit for me.
That's good. We're glad to have you. I think between you and the other Juice, you know, I don't know who's more popular, but I think when the season starts, you may take him.
I might take him.
Yeah, he's got like 65,000 Twitter followers.
Yeah, I'm not there yet, you know, but I'm almost
there.
Yeah,
you're almost there. I think when you start playing, you may be able to take him.
He got me for sure.
Yeah, no, you may be able to take him after that. Caden, coming back. Second year here, obviously transferring from Memphis. We're banged up a little bit of last year, you know, but at the end of the year when you got healthy, we were able to run the ball better. You were a bigger factor in the pass game. Obviously the Peach Bowl was ridiculous. Just talk about you going into this last year, but your second year at Ole Miss, kind of what are some of the goals for you? Obviously this offense with guys like this and Trey and some of the others and Jackson and Bentley and those guys. You know, how you fit in that and what are some of the goals you're looking for in this second year here at Ole Miss?
Really just whatever they need me to do, whether it's blocking, catching, just being that leader on the field, just helping get guys together and for us to go really just try to go 1-0 each week. That's what Coach Kiffin says, and that's the motto he lives by. That's something I'm trying to do. Like the rest of the goals will take care of itself, like stats and all that. I don't really care about that. I really just care about winning. That's why I stayed, and that's why I came back.
Yep, absolutely. J.I., I was talking to you the other day, man. You were like, I was like, how's camp going? You said it feels like a 5th camp. So
most definitely does.
Yeah, but I mean, being one of the older guys, one of the veterans, you know, obviously you play a pivotal role both on the field and off the field, in the locker room, things like that. For you, you know, running it back this last year, you had a chance just like Caden to possibly leave. You decided to come back and you know, be a part of this team that could do some very special things. Talk a little bit about that last dance for you and what you're looking for this season, both personally and then a team standpoint.
Personally, I think just kind of like what Priesthorn said, just kind of, you know, worried about helping the team and playing a bunch of different techniques and just doing whatever they ask of me. It's been really cool to see the development from the young guys. They've come a long way, and even the freshmen from this upcoming class have already, you know, started to improve a lot. So seeing those guys, you know, go through their first camp and you know, feel the heat, complain about the reps, you know, it's been funny. It's been rewarding. So yeah, just excited to you know, have this last dance with the guys and this thing off on the right note.
Yeah. You know, we talk a little bit about culture, actually a lot about culture, and football being the ultimate team sport. You know, there's more players, locker room's bigger. It was true when I played. I know it's true now. For you guys, culture, like we saw the video of the team meeting with Coach Smith hitting the drop and B Brown.
Okay, drop.
Well, I mean, it was fun. They didn't drop. B takes offense to that. He said they didn't show who actually won. But anyway, you know, just like the culture of that kind of loose, you know, player-led, you know, it started with the Grove Bowl with, you know, doing the spring game differently, which I think will probably be the norm this year going forward. But like how coach and this coaching staff make it, you know, it's a grind. It can be a grind. Football can be a grind. Football's tough. You know, you guys, if this thing goes right, can play 16 games this year. You know, that's a lot. It's an NFL season. So just from a cultural standpoint, the best teams are player-led. But each one, I'll ask this each one of you guys briefly, like the culture here and that example of, you know, playing basketball in a team meeting, you know, how special is that for you guys?
Man, I'd say it's very special, you know, because like you said, camp can be hard, you know, and I feel like it just brings the brotherhood out and more relaxed and more just, you know, you can just vibe a lot with your guys and really get to understand, you know, your teammates more and laugh and enjoy that time because, I mean, you can sit there in the meeting and be stressing and all that type of stuff. But I mean, when coach opened it up and just let us have fun and you know, make jokes. How I told you earlier about the whole thing with the meetings and stuff like that, man, it's cool, man. It's new to me for sure, but I feel like it definitely opens up an opportunity for us to laugh and joke around and get to know our teammates more.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. I mean, because like you got new faces coming in, new portal guys, and you're trying to get everybody integrated and feeling a part of it, right, Caden?
Yeah, definitely. Like the stuff that I feel like Coach Kiffin does a great job of, like letting it be a player-led team and like letting us like be more vocal and letting us like say what, like he'll take our opinions in and like he'll listen and go do stuff. But definitely Coach Kiffin also does a great job of like thinking outside the box. Like not too many people think of those like team meetings and shooting baskets or the Grove Bowl games, but it's definitely
hot dog eating contest.
Yeah,
Grove Bowl,
you don't see that stuff, but I got to give him a lot of credit for like being thinking out really outside the box.
Yeah, J.I., for you, like defensively, you know, you look at that defensive front, the scrimmage the last 2 weeks, you guys are getting after it. Like, what excites you most about Pete's defense for you?
I think, man, just with Pete's scheme and in general, it's complex for the opponent, but you know, simple for us. I feel like there's you know, he knows how to put guys in position to make plays and really dial stuff up for certain position groups. I feel like the depth is crazy right now. You know, I feel like we're a good 2 deep, 2-3 deep in every position, which is, you know, something we haven't had in the past. So yeah, I feel like we'll just be able to keep rolling this year.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to let you guys go in a second, but I do have a couple non-serious, non-football questions. So brace yourself here. No wrong answers, just whatever comes to your mind. I've asked guys for us. Best dancer on the team?
Dancer?
I know who I've heard, and it wouldn't be who I would pick.
Dancer.
Oh, no, you don't really.
Micah Pettis claims he's the best dancer on the team.
I'll go Diego.
You got to go.
Or Diego.
Diego, another big guy.
I'll give it to Diego.
Diego.
Not Diego, yeah.
Biggest guys on the team.
Okay.
All right. Who's got the best voice? Who can sing better than anybody in the locker room?
Man.
Got to be man.
Oh,
man. We got a freshman D tackle named Kendrick, and he sang "Lean on Me" in one of the team meetings. They were doing freshman
freshman talent show.
So like they do in the NFL.
Yeah, that's what we were doing. We were doing that.
It's beautiful, soulful. You really
Who was the worst?
Who's the worst?
John Wayne.
John Wayne.
Oh,
yeah.
John Wayne Oliver. Okay.
He went up there, did the splits.
Oh, that was crazy. That was crazy.
We all had pepper balls like tomatoes, and we all just throwing pepper balls.
Moved him off the stage.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. All right, last question, each one of you. If I could have dinner, or you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would it be?
Want me to go first?
Yeah, to be actors, musicians, players, athletes.
Kobe.
Great one.
Nipsey Hussle.
That's what would be one of mine too.
Yeah, and my grandma.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good one. That'd be a good table.
Yeah,
that'd
that's
be a
a
good
great
table. What about you, Caden?
Probably he got me Kobe, probably Michael Jordan, and I don't know, probably like Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. I was going to say you were going to say like Mark Navarro or some legendary tight end or something. Okay, Tom Brady. That's a good one.
Give me the TNT cast, man.
Okay,
Shaq, Chuck, and I'm gonna go Ernie. We love Kenny, but I'm gonna go Ernie.
Yeah, Shaq and Charles would be worth just those two. Yeah. And you throw Ernie in there too. Well, guys, look, man. Number one, it's great to have you as a Grove Collective ambassador. All you guys, the work you do for our fans, and helping us, and hopefully we're helping you guys a lot too. So appreciate you guys, all you do for us, and I know everybody's looking forward to a wonderful season and following you guys and a historic year. So I want to thank you for that. Stay healthy. 2 more weeks. Stay healthy. Let's get to that Furman game. But appreciate you guys joining us today. Coming up next, we'll be joined by our 2 coordinators, Charlie Weiss and Pete Golding. We'll be back shortly.
And welcome again to Grove Collection Day. The Grove Collective.com is where you can go. And, of course, a lot of you have already responded today. We appreciate that. It's a week-long thing. And in our closing remarks here in a little bit, Walker's going to kind of wrap things up for us. But we are so honored to have our coordinators from the Ole Miss football team with us here. Pete Golding on the defensive side, Charlie Weiss Jr. on the offensive side. And, hey, welcome.
Glad to be here.
Y'all been a little busy, right?
Yeah,
it's been very busy.
We'll start with you and tell us a little bit about fall camp, how it's gone with this.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's a super exciting roster, that we've got, so it's been really cool. Getting a bunch of new guys, getting them caught up to speed, on the system, the offense, and kind of getting everybody in rhythm. Got a lot of new linemen, so, working through those things, getting that piece together and getting those guys playing together and playing, making the right calls and all on the same page. And then getting Jackson on page with all these receivers and tight ends that we've got. So it's been super fun. Always fun going against Coach and his defense. And obviously, they've got a lot of talent on that side of the ball. So it's a real competition every day.
Coach, tell us about the defensive side.
How's it going? I think we're really pleased, especially with the front right now. I think the biggest thing in this league, you got to be able to stop the run, to be able to have some fun. So I think we got about 8 or 9 guys up front right now that you can play winning football with in the SEC, and a lot of them are interchangeable parts. So a lot of these big guys can play 0, 3, and 5 techniques. So we're super excited about the flexibility and versatility of those guys. I think we've got longer in the back end. I think that was a concern for me, size, speed ratio, to have the ability to play man-to-man in this league. So a lot of the new guys come in with experience in this league. And a lot of them have high football IQ. So we're turning a lot of good guys. Second year in the system is always easier. They've got a foundation, can do a little bit more. So we're really pleased where we're at.
Your guys' background in football, you've seen what it takes to be the best, obviously on pro level, college level, and coming from Alabama as you did. I can remember days, and Walker can attest to this, where we would have on the defensive front really 2 good linemen and hope they didn't get hurt. Right. But to have 8 or 9 and NFL quality guys really on both fronts is important.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing for us is finding them a role. And I think Coach White and them do an unbelievable job on offensive personnel and scheming guys and things like that. So I think you see 11 personnel, you see 12 personnel in this league. So we're going to identify a role for them. We're going to rotate a lot of guys, thanks to Walker Grove Collective and all you guys.
Yeah, I don't think I would have played much in Pete's defense.
We asked Kiffin earlier, Pete, if he had one game of eligibility, would he get a snap? He said that's something if they huddled, nobody huddled.
RPM, the tempo may have gotten me. I needed that 25-second huddle in between plays and catch my breath after chasing those guys. Charlie, we talk a little bit about the portal and bringing new talent in and all that, and I got to, just like what Pete's working with the defense, trying to find a role for those guys. For you, it's trying to get the ball to different people and spreading the ball around. And as we know, there's only one football.
That's right.
There's a lot of talent out there.
Doubt.
So for you guys, and we've had some of the guys on earlier today, and they talk about surrendering to the greater good and sacrificing maybe carries or catches or touches. How do you manage that as a play caller when you have that much talent and only one ball to go around?
Yeah, I think, like you said, number one is getting the buy-in of the whole offense, the roster, that, hey, it's about winning, number one. So what is it going to take this week? And every single week's not going to be your week. It might be Trey's week this week. It might be pre-scoring the next. It might be, do the next. It just depends on the week, the game, the defensive structure that you're playing. And so we got to get everybody to buy in and play winning football, for 4 quarters, no matter who it is. But then the other thing, too, is, as play caller and working with Coach Kiffin, I think we try to be very intentional in the game plan process of where people are getting them in spots to make sure that our best players are getting touches. So whether that's in the game plan process or as we think about, the opening drive of the game, the first couple series that we have, and making sure, hey, make sure we get Trey a couple catches, or, let's get Juice Wells a perimeter touch, different things like that to make sure that everybody's involved, that they feel good and they're ready to go. But, ultimately it's about what do you got to do to win that week.
Yeah, and both you guys, something new this year is the headset, the helmet communications like the NFL.
Right.
So kind of a question to each of you. I don't know, you and Lane are both on the headset, I think, and talking. So, just managing how that will change. With tempo, I think we'll still want to go fast, I would imagine.
That's exactly right.
And I would think that could help us go faster, if that's even possible. But,
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that dynamic in this camp, of that being kind of for both of you guys, learning a little bit about being able to communicate through the helmet.
Yeah, it's been fun to work through it, and it's just kind of getting a good balance of giving the quarterback the right amount of information. Right, you don't want to overload them with too much where you're saying something right before the ball snapped and he freaks out, but also being able to, hey, you're about to get this coverage, go here with the ball, and or you're about to get this pressure, let's slide the line this way. So those things are good, and it's also great situationally too. You're in a 2-minute series. Hey, we need a field goal right here. Hey, we're in field goal range. Make sure you're safe with the ball. Make good decisions.
Or it's 4-down territory.
It's 4-down territory. Like those situational things, I think are huge. But then it's also too when hey, we're picking something up in the box upstairs and we can get it communicated to the quarterback who can communicate it to the offensive line. It's a really cool thing. But obviously it goes both ways too, and defense, can pick up on things as well.
Are we never not in 4-down territory? No.
It seems like it.
I don't think is that even a true statement? That's not even a statement.
Just get it. Just get it.
Just go get it.
Just get it.
Coach Gold's got to veto him every now and then.
Just get it.
So, Coach, for you talking to, I think TJ's kind of going to be your guy.
Yeah.
So talking to him and being able to do that same thing too, how does that dynamic work for you guys?
I think obviously the biggest defensively, you're still signaling to all 11, right?
Yeah.
We don't signal to our green dot so that he can read the tells. I think that's the biggest difference this year is they always Y location, backfield sets, how you want to set fronts, where you want to pressure from. And it was always hard in previous years. They got to get a signal from the sideline. And then by the time they can turn around, the tempo offenses are already set and you can't really use your tells. So we've got him just looking at the tells of the formation. So a lot of the pressures in the fronts will be dictated from TJ.
Right.
And then now I'll be in the box and be able to see him. And so a lot of those, you're not guessing anymore.
So you're going to be in the box this year?
I'll be in the box this year. So
okay, that's a change.
With the iPads now on the sideline, every position coach will be down there. It'll be like individual meetings. And then with the kill system and the radio and all that. So I'd always call it from the box pre-Bama. And that was kind of a Saban rule there. But I think the biggest thing, fronts and pressures, and then the kill series, because the quarterback's not going to have to look to the sideline this year. So I'll be able to control that from the box when receivers look and things like that. We can get him to kill, and he'll be our visual kill player for the rest of the guys, so then they can look to the sideline and get in and out of stuff.
On one of our Rebel road trips, Lane was asked about the new helmet routine. He said, everybody's into his analytics too. That's the buzzword for our fans too, analytics. And ask him how much faster can we play on offense, and he said 1.3 seconds. And he didn't even hesitate, didn't even smile, and it's 1.3 seconds. We're going to play that much faster on offense.
Well, and it's a fast game, and there's more snaps being played. So just like in the NFL, they're sitting on the bench. They're going to be looking at an iPad, going, "Here's the last series.
That's right.
Here's what they ran. Here's what you did wrong."
Yep.
Which obviously makes y'all's job a little different too. But so we talk about we talked to Coach was in here earlier. We talked about the 3 buckets: the retention of your current roster, the transfer portal to fill needs, and then high school recruiting. For you guys, I would imagine your schemes aren't going to really change much because of the portal. You can go get guys to fill the needs that fit your system. You can evaluate guys better. So just talk a little bit, after we were almost through camp, we're getting ready, we're 2 weeks out from our first game. Is this kind of where you thought this team would be in terms of roles, talent, coming out of the portal season in January through spring practice? Again, a lot more analytics than a lot of people realize about putting a team in place. Is this kind of what you envisioned as we kind of went through collectively, pardon the pun, collectively, and put the team together? Is this kind of where you guys think you are?
I think evaluating the talent part's easy. Watching the video, here's the intangibles to play the position. But I think your concern is the camaraderie and do they come together. And I think that's what's unique about this team to me is the returning nucleus of what we already had. And then now these new guys, even some of them are superstars and they're big name guys. Like our guys aren't attracted to them; these guys are attracted to our nucleus. And I think, that starts with Jackson Dart, and we got the Trey Washingtons on defense, and so I think Coach Kiff's done an unbelievable job creating the culture. And then I think you can bring some bigger profile guys in, and they buy into the culture already in place. I think that's tough to do at a lot of different places. I think it's unique this year based on the leadership that we have from Kiff, but more importantly from a player-driven team. And so I think we're ahead of where I thought we would be because of that. And I think we have a lot of guys that understand, and it's going to take all of us to win a championship, whether it's Dart being at a defensive recruiting meeting, right, trying to get a D lineman in here or not. So they started taking these guys under their wing. And instead of looking at them as competition, they're coming in and helping them learn the system, right, and they're enjoying the competition because they want our best 11 out there. They know they're going to have a role. And our thing right now is it's not quantity of snaps, it's quality of snaps. So it's not taking 40 snaps on defense. It's let's take 20 really good ones to increase your value. And I think more guys have bought into that concept, and now they're starting to celebrate somebody else's success. So I think from our side of the ball, I think they bought in better than I anticipated. And so talent's one thing, but if you don't have the buy-in, it's not going to matter.
Player-led team.
That's
Gotta
right.
be. What about from off?
Yeah, I feel like it's just been different this year. We have so much more depth than we have in years past. You know, I think in previous years, you know, since I've been here, it's kind of we've got our top guys and we've got a good group of players, but you know, if we get a couple injuries, you know, there's some issues. Whereas, you know, this year I feel like we're a little bit more prepared for, you know, the length of the season and how this thing goes. So that's been the biggest, you know, thing for me, and which obviously that's what we were hoping for. You know, we brought all these offensive linemen in. You got some new receivers, got some running backs. So I do feel like the depth overall at different positions has been really nice.
You try. Everybody wants to know depth at quarterback. Jackson obviously ready to roll, and you know who's going to be 2, who's going to be. The truth of the matter is, behind him, you've gotten some really good growth, haven't you?
Yeah, Walker and Austin. I think you know they're both really talented players that have bright futures, and they'll continue to compete and go. You know, as time goes on, both have their strengths. You know, I think. You know, Walker does a great job of operating the system, knowing exactly where to go, and he's got, you know, a big arm to make throws down the field. You know, Austin is a very quick release, and he's on point. He's got long strides he can run. So we've got, you know, two guys behind him that this is their second year in the system, so that they know what we're doing. They've both got talent, and so that's been a fun competition to watch throughout the course of camp. And then A.J. Maddox, a young guy, has come in here. He may have the strongest arm of all of them, and has been doing a great job for us. He's just got to continue to learn and progress and see the system, but there's plenty of arm talent in that room.
And fans going to wear you out about pressure. Are we going to blitz a little bit, Coach?
Well, I think obviously it depends week to week. You know, I think especially early when teams come in and feel outmatched, the rhythm of throws. And I think when you have really good front, you should be able to get there with 4.
Right.
And I think that's the difference. I think we got some guys now create the one-on-one matchup, build a cover, change the picture, create some takeaways. But yeah, we'll definitely affect the quarterback. But I think that's the word. You can affect the quarterback multiple different ways, and it's not always 5 or 6 man pressures. But yeah, we will.
I'm excited about it. I'm ready. I think it's been really fun to work with this staff. You know, our fans that have given today have allowed these guys to be able to assemble a lot of talent. You've heard it here today and how they're coming together. And I think that's what I want people to understand. There's a plan, there's a process with these coaches, knowing what they need, the information they give us, so then we can try to go procure the best players that we can. And like they said, it's a talent business, but it's also culture and intangibles. And I think, you know, our fans should be really excited. And as Coach Kiffin said, to enjoy the moment. Don't start worrying about Oklahoma and Georgia and 16 game playoff, all that stuff. You know, just worry about week to week. Let's go 1-0 each week, and let's enjoy that. And you know, these two guys are a huge part of it. And as Coach Kiffin said, the first time since he's been here, he's had continuity in the coordinator roles.
Yep.
So congratulations for that.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Don't leave. Hang with us a little while.
That's right. Good to have you guys back. So anyway.
Well, and I was going to ask you one too before we let the football piece go and wrap things up. But you're an alum. You played the sport here. You know how tough it is. You know about this league, and it's grown and all the craziness. So, just as a former player, and you can speak for everybody as a former player, are you pretty pleased with what you're seeing going on with Ole Miss football?
Yeah, and I don't. People talk about wins and losses, and they want to know what the end result's going to be. Are we going to make the playoff? Are we going to do that? And there's no secret that 2 years ago, sitting down with Coach Kiff and the staff, that we were like, we're gonna build this to get in that 12-team playoff. There's no doubt that was a goal. But I just, like a lot of former players, I don't really focus on how good do you think we're going to be, and are we going to beat Oklahoma? Are we going to beat LSU? Like, it's really about, to me, the culture and the standard and being relevant on the national discussion. And I think, you know, Ole Miss now is relevant in the discussion on the national landscape. There's probably not a bigger personality from a head coaching standpoint than our head coach. He's got a great staff, obviously. So as a former player, when I walk out there and watch practice, that's what I'm most proud of, is seeing the operation and hearing these guys talk about the culture and seeing the team meeting room where they're playing basketball in there and the excitement and the joy that they have for each other. Like, that to me, because I know wins will translate from that. So, DK, I think that's probably – I just don't get caught up in, like, man, I hope we win this week and I hope we beat these guys and all that. Those stuff will take care of itself. It's behind the scenes, the intangibles, and being proud of the young men that have chosen to come here, that want to be coached, that embrace the community, love running on that field, and they take pride in that. So, and I think we've done that, and I think our fans should enjoy that, enjoy the moment. And again, try to go 1-0 every week. Let's just focus on going 1-0 every week. And if we focus on that, I'm not worried about the end result.
1-0 in a week from now. Hey, mock game Saturday, and then the next week a real one.
That's right.
Are we ready to go?
It's here, baby.
Ready
Hey,
to go.
thank you guys. We appreciate you. I know you're busting your tails, and we didn't get into the guys that are working with you, but we got a tremendous staff. I know you're awfully proud of all those guys too, and more numbers, in fact, to help you.
That's right.
Yeah. Sure.
When Pete was at Delta State, I don't know how you made 1 or 2 extra folks. Maybe.
Tops.
Tops.
I was
But
paying the damn
we thank
fields,
you
baby.
guys so much. Yeah, for being part of our show. Hey, when we come back, Walker and I will wrap things up with what's been an exciting day. And we're back one last time. What a wonderful day. It went a little bit long, but that was fun to do so and visit with a lot of Ole Miss people through Walker Jones, who's Executive Director of the Grove Collective, and got a lot of information to you, and we hope that you continue to give and have a huge week. But Walker, this was really impressive to see how the collective, is performing and helping us in the athletic setting.
Well, we talk a lot about all the things that have helped us to be a leader, but at the end of the day, it's our support from our fans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that right there, nothing is more important than our fans deciding to give their disposable income at whatever level to support us. And I think today we were able to show the good that it does. Mm-hmm. We had several athlete panels and how special these young men and women are that come here and the difference that NIL makes in their lives. And then our coaches. There's no secret that coaches are evaluated now on talent retention, talent recruitment, and building a roster. And it's like pro sports, and the collective is a huge part of that. And I think we've been able to support our coaches at a very high level. I get asked all the time about, well, what about this school and that school and all that. I'm like, man, we just got to worry about ourselves. Because when we get everybody pulling in the same direction, DK, as you well know, then we're a pretty mighty fan base. And it's not about numbers, it's about the impact. And I think today's another example of that impact, that your dollars, your contributions, our fans supporting us are able to go to great use and have the peace of mind knowing that there's a plan and a process. We're not just arbitrarily just throwing money around at people. There's a real a process with our coaches, and I think you're going to see it, coming up this fall and this spring. So just really excited about that, and really excited about what the future holds for our coaches.
Talk about some numbers. How did they go?
Yeah, I think our numbers were really strong. We've had some big six-figure gifts. We've had an increase in our membership. We've had people upgrade that are current members. We've had new members join. One thing I want to talk about is our corporate sponsors. If you read anything about NIL, you know that there's a potential settlement coming through litigation with the House case. And one of the things that's going to be paramount, if that does actually happen and come to reality, is corporate sponsorship. And there's going to be a new focus on what they call true NIL. And so I think we do a good job of it now, obviously, but it's going to be more important for the businesses, not only here in Oxford, but regionally in our state, in the Southeast, from our fans, and have those Ole Miss-owned businesses supporting what we're doing here, because that's going to be a major focus going forward. It gives our athletes an opportunity to promote your brand, to promote your business. It gives them an opportunity to learn how to be an ambassador, how to be an endorser, an influencer, and then it will help us going forward with whatever sort of enforcement or guidelines that will come. So, and just so you know, if you do give through your business, you can write that off as a top line advertising expense from tax purposes. So that piece, combined with the priority points that we're given, really makes it a win-win for anybody that has a business out there.
And the corporate people got a chance to see some of our athletes and how cool they are, and how neat it would be to attach themselves to them as well. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. We've got a ton of them out here the same way. We do, and just great stories they have. We heard from Braden Waterman today. What a great story that is. I mean, that's why we do what we do. For stories like that. So we're going to continue this whole week. I want to remind everybody, while the support today has been phenomenal, this is a full week initiative. Priority points will last through the week. There'll be some additional prizes and some experiences that we're going to give throughout the week, DK, that we'll be promoting on social media and on our website. So don't shut us off after today. Continue to follow us. There's some really, really cool things that you can bid on, some auctions, things of that nature, and I know our fans will continue to do that, and just again, super grateful for the experience and the alignment that we have with Keith and Denson and Matt and Kyle and everybody at the university is first class, and that's kind of what keeps us all aligned and efficient. But at the end of the day, it's all about support. No doubt. So just super excited, and really please say thank you. I know you're a busy man. Thank you, man. Thanks to this group too, Micah and his gang. All here. We got the best in the country. Absolutely. And that's not lightly, that's the truth. Okay, so you owe me lunch. But hey, we'll let all them yell hotty toddy. Can you all, on three, hotty toddy from our crew. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, baby. There we go. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you much. Hey, thank you for bringing it home, DK, as always. Thanks for joining us, and have a great week. Get ready. Football just around the corner. Soccer's already rolling.